but you feel it. You felt it your entire life. That there's something wrong with the world. You don't know what it is, but it's there. You can feel it.
Get up on out the bed and start to move your balls. Wake up a word in Solomon Jones. Word. You better wake up now.
Good morning. This is Solomon Jones on 900 AM, 96.1 FM, WURD, and I want to welcome you to another edition of Wake Up with Word. It was Mother's Day weekend. We had a great weekend. Everybody was able to come and gather, just a few of us, but we were at my house. Everybody's vaccinated, and so no mask. We had a good time. Kwesa, how about you?
We actually had a really good time. My brother is out of town, but I was able to. I brought actually my mom out here to Philly. We went to a nice little restaurant. They were socially, distancing. We had a view of the Delaware, and just kind of hung out. And then, we went and got some dessert, and that was about it. And then I got her a little something else on Mother's Day. Because, you do stuff. If you go out on the actual day of Mother's Day, it's so busy and jam-packed, so... But it was good. It was good. I enjoyed celebrating my mom. She's the greatest.
So you strategized. You was like, no, we going out the day before. We ain't going.
Mm-hmm. We typically do that. We typically don't do it.
That's good.
Right on. And that's also because of the fact that both my brother and we have to get up super early on Monday to go to work. So both of us. So, we kind of, over the years, we've perfected the Saturday. The Saturday outing.
Yeah, I love it. So, yeah, we didn't want to go out, so we did it in, and it was nice. It was very nice. It was just nice to be able to just, hang out with all the moms in my life. And so, happy Mother's Day again to my wife and to my mother and to my mother-in-law and to my aunt and to Sue and all of the mothers in my life. We appreciate all of you. And so, that's one of the things that happened this weekend, of course, Mother's Day. It's not going to make it into the top three, but we got to talk about them anyway. We learned that the pandemic has created some shortages, right, of all kinds of stuff. Did you hear about this, Kwesa?
Yep.
Yeah, all kinds of shortages, right? Gas and iron and workers, like all kinds of stuff. But it's two things that jumped off the list of me: chicken and ketchup packages, right? It's shortages of these things. Now, this is where the rest of the world can learn some things from black folks. We will never run out of chicken or ketchup packets because we got chicken in the freezer from before the shortage. And we got a drawer filled with all the extra condiments we take every time we come to fast food restaurants. My drawer has soy sauce and taco sauce and ketchup and hot sauce. If the world ended today, we could survive for at least a week on just the ketchup packets in that drawer. So the rest of y'all need to take a tip from Black America. If you want to survive when things go south, get you a drawer in your kitchen, fill it with those packets, and know that when everyone else is scrambling for food, you can survive on ketchup. We got a hot show for you today on Wake Up with Word. Lawyer and critical race theorist Dr. Tim Golden breaks down the federal indictment of the cops who killed George Floyd. Juvenile Justice Award winner Kristen Henning joins us to talk about the work she's doing at Georgetown Law. Shamar Woods of Sports Illustrated joins us to talk sports. And as always, we've got you, our listeners, calling in at 215-634-8065, a toll-free 1-866-361-0900. Hit us on Twitter and Instagram at onWURD, or you can hit me personally at Solomon Jones 1. Watch us on Facebook at onWURD. But first, it's the big three, the news stories you need to know to kick off your day right here on Wake Up with Word. Story number one: 6 adults were killed early Sunday morning when a suspect opened fire at a birthday party in Colorado Springs, Colorado. Police said the suspect, who was allegedly the boyfriend of one of the victims, took his own life, according to police. Officers responded to a 911 call at the Canterbury Mobile Home Park around 12:18 a.m. and discovered the victims and suspect with gunshot wounds. 6 of the people were pronounced dead on the scene. A 7th was found with serious injuries and was taken to the hospital but succumbed to their injuries, police said. It's unclear if the suspect was the one taken to the hospital. Police said the unidentified suspect drove to the mobile home park while a birthday celebration was going on for one of the victims. Investigators said friends, family, and children were all gathered when the suspect came in and allegedly opened fire. The children at the trailer were uninjured by the suspect and are now with relatives. The Colorado Springs Police Department said in a statement they're investigating why this thing happened. And you know, here's the thing. When you talk about the children were unhurt, no, they weren't. No, they weren't. Those children are emotionally scarred. That's something they're never going to forget. They're going to need therapy to deal with the trauma. And that's what we talk about, man. When we talk about this gun violence, it's the trauma that it leaves behind for those who have witnessed it, for those who have to live with it, for those who've lost someone to it, for those who have to live around it. Like, no, the trauma is the injury. And these kids are going to need serious therapy, man. And the more I realize the after effects of it, the more I realize how important it is for us to continue to do the work that we do. We start another cohort of Listening to the Streets tonight with a group of young men talking about the issue of gun violence, bringing in therapy to this cohort, because guess what, Kawesa? It's needed. It's needed.
It is needed, you know, and it's so sad. I just feel like all over the country, you know, we just continue to have so much tragedy when it comes to gun violence, and it's really impacting everyone. I don't know if it's the pandemic. There's just so many social issues, reasons why this is happening, but it needs to stop. It really does need to stop. And so, you know, that's why it is so vitally important for, you know, programs like yours, Solomon, to get folks off the streets and really, you know, start educating folks and give them other options to go about their lives so that they're not doing things like this. And so I'm just praying for everybody involved in what happened there, but also just continually praying for our people here in Philly and all over the country.
Yeah, absolutely. And it brings me to story number 2. Former Minneapolis police officers indicted on federal charges unsealed on Friday, right after our show, of violating the civil rights of George Floyd, the black man whose killing last year set off months of nationwide demonstrations against police violence. The indictment came weeks after one of the officers, Derek Chauvin, was convicted of second-degree murder in a state prosecution in Floyd's death. The federal charges are not normal because officers have rarely faced criminal charges for using deadly force, particularly accusations of civil rights violations. The new charges also include a second federal indictment accusing Chauvin of depriving a teenager of his civil rights during a 2017 encounter. Chauvin held the teenager by the throat, struck his head repeatedly with a flashlight, pressed his knee into his neck and back while the juvenile lay handcuffed, court papers said. The Biden administration has repeatedly shown it intends to aggressively crack down on police misconduct, including announcing a broad investigation into the Minneapolis Police Department last month after Chauvin's conviction. The indictment charges Chauvin, 45, and officers Tu Thao, J. Alexander Kuhn, and Thomas Lane with willfully depriving Floyd of his constitutional civil rights during his arrest. Federal prosecutors have hesitated to bring the charge in high-profile police killings. It's harder to meet the law's willfulness standard, which would mean proving that an officer intended to use excessive force in order to violate someone's civil rights. So there's that word willful, and we're going to talk about it a little bit later on with Dr. Tim Golden, who's also a lawyer. So we're going to talk about this particular case and why they could charge in this case and why they wouldn't charge in other cases. You know, I think you got to charge whether you sure you're going to get a conviction or not. I think you got to send that message. And so we're going to be talking about this and the George Floyd Justice in Policing Act, which changes that language to make it easier to get convictions in these cases. But I was very pleased to see them federally charging these officers who killed George Floyd.
Yeah, I was pleased too. I'm definitely pleased. And I think, for me, after almost 10 minutes, yeah, you willfully killed. Like, I don't care what anybody says. You had so many opportunities to stop what was going on, and because of the fact that you felt that he was less human and that he was unworthy of life, you just allowed for that to happen. And so, yeah, I mean, I feel personally in my heart that, it was willful, because you had time. You had all this time to really think about what you were doing, and you did nothing. So, yeah, I'm happy that they got indicted.
Yeah, absolutely. So that brings me to story number 3, my commentary for the day. Sometimes you meet people who influence you in ways you can't see. Leroy Simmons did that for me. He called me one Saturday out of the blue while I was outside with my children. At the time, I had just debuted a self-published CD called Wisdom, which I crafted from radio commentaries I'd done back in 2005. I didn't know how he got my number. I didn't know where he heard the CD, but he said he wanted 10 of them. So I drove to the unisex salon where he and his wife worked together on Shelton Avenue. Reverend Leroy, as I called him, wasn't the kind of preacher who would pray for you and stop there. No, he was a man who'd pray and then he'd move. A man who'd pray and then he'd protect. A man who'd pray and then he'd get out in the street to protest, not just about his own kids' education, but also about yours. There was nothing phony about Reverend Leroy. If he liked you, he liked you. What you saw was what you got, and what you got was a soldier who was always on the battlefield for black people. Reverend Leroy was so much more than a caller on a radio show, or a barber in a salon, or a preacher in a pulpit. He was an example of what a black man should be. That's why over the years, I'd drop by the salon to holler at him if I was in the area, and sometimes I'd bring my wife because I wanted to hear his quiet wisdom. I wanted to hear his heartfelt laughter. I wanted to ask him how he was doing and hear him say he was boss good. Reverend Leroy Simmons passed away at the age of 74, and I'll miss him. But in his honor, I'll hold our elders a little closer and say I love them a little more. Rest in peace, Reverend Leroy. I know you're with the Father, and I know you're doing boss good. I want to hear from you. Give me a call, 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. That's the number you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD. I was just talking to somebody about WURD listeners and about the way it's like a family. It's different, right? Because I've worked at other radio stations. I've done commentary in other places, and until I started reflecting on this, I'd almost forgotten that really I started doing radio commentary back 15 years ago, right? At another station, a major station in Philadelphia. And I'd done this collection of these commentaries, and I'd set them to music. Flemuel Brown III, the same guy who wrote the theme for this show, did the music for that CD and for those pieces of poetry that I did back then. And Reverend Leroy somehow got word of it. I did not know him, right? I didn't know how he got my cell phone number. I ain't know none of that, right? He called me. I'm outside doing something with my kids. Seemed like I was trying to teach my daughter how to ride a bike, something, right? So he calls. And he said, look, I want 10 of those CDs. I love what you're doing. I think it's real positive, and I want to put some in my salon. So I'm a hustler. Hustler always got his product. So I had my product. I said, all right, well, I'll bring you 10, and that's how we met years before I got here to WURD. And over the years, I'd visit a couple of times, not as much as I should have, but I would go to like the Rose Petals Cafe. It was up the street, and so we would stop by the salon if we were up there, and just hang out and just talk with him and his wife. Of course, we are praying for the family, but what it reminds me is that there is something special about WURD listeners that you don't necessarily see on other media platforms. Those who know me know that I've written for almost every entity here in the city of Philadelphia, that I've worked at other media outlets and done a lot in media over the years. I don't think about it a lot, but in a moment like this, I reflect on it, and there is just a different kind of bond and a different kind of relationship with WURD listeners. I'm not even going to call y'all an audience. You're a family of people, and so that is important, and that is special, and that's what makes WURD stand out. And so when we lose a member of the family, certainly we grieve, but we also rejoice that they no longer have to suffer, and they're not in, a state where, they have to deal with the various maladies and ailments that come along with a longer life. Reverend Leroy had lost his sight and was dealing with that, but he never lost his spirit. And so we certainly appreciate him, and we appreciate all of you, and the fact that we can be this family every day here on WURD. So I want to hear from you. Give me a call. 215-634-8065 is the number that you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD. Kwesa, Reverend Leroy, he was boss good.
Yeah, such a good man. He really was. And you're absolutely right about, our listeners and the fact that, you all really are family. There are some of you that I have never met personally, but just hearing your voices over the phone or having conversations, with you all after the show, it gives me a sense of peace and calm, and it makes me feel like, we're doing something right. It really does. And all of the positivity, all of the comments, all of y'all are always telling us to, keep up the good work, and, that you're rooting for us. And it just means the world. I think that there have been so many times when, I've said it, you said it, Solomon, where, y'all keep us going.
Yeah.
You really keep us going. And, just how family is, sometimes we drive each other crazy. That's the truth. That's the truth. But at the same time, family is family. And so, such a good man. And he's definitely going to be missed. I just, it was definitely shocking to see that, and hear you say that about, and just having talked to him not even that long ago.
Yeah.
So my heart, my prayers are going to the family right now, and just everyone that he touched. Just an amazing human being, really.
Yep. Absolutely. So I want to hear from you. You can certainly give us a call, 215-634-8065. So we're talking about that. And, of course, talking about the federal prosecutors deciding that they are going to file these, indict, right, these officers on the killing of George Floyd. And what the natural question it raises for me is, why didn't you do this before? Why didn't you do this in the case of Eric Garner? Why didn't you do this in the case of Alton Sterling? Why didn't you do this in the case of Tamir Rice and so many others that you looked at and said, I'm sorry, we can't do it. I think that it makes a difference what administration is in place. It makes a difference who is looking at these cases. It makes a difference who's in charge. We're going to go to break. On the other side, we're going to continue the show. I'm Solomon Jones. We'll be right back.
Anthony Wright was wrongfully convicted of murder after he spent over 2 decades in prison. DNA exonerated him. In 2016, Carlos Vega re-prosecuted him anyway.
I was in prison, convicted of a crime that I didn't commit. Every single person that was involved was corrupt. I think about Carlos Vega. I think about the devil. I think about racism.
Vote now. Vote Krasner for DA. Paid for by Lawrence Krasner for District Attorney.
WURD is supported by Temple University, which is Philadelphia's public university. At Temple, students are surrounded by change makers who offer meaningful contributions to our city, country, and the world. Our facility, staff, and students are thought leaders who propose solutions for racial disparities, break down barriers to opportunity, champion equal rights, and challenge oppressive ideas. We believe that empowered minds preserve, and every member of the Temple community deserves space to shine.
Soul Food Mills Restaurant is here, 4514 City Avenue in Philadelphia. Visit www.soulfoodmills.com to see our menu. Open Wednesdays through Saturdays, 4:30 p.m. until 1:30 a.m. and open on Sunday, 4:30 p.m. to 1:30 a.m. Call 215-921-6462. Order now via Uber Eats, DoorDash, and Grubhub.
Employers, are you hiring? WURD has got you covered. We just launched a brand new job portal to help connect you with diverse talent in Philadelphia and beyond. To have your job featured on our job portal, give us a call at 215-425-7875 or send us an email at sales@wordradio.com. Check out the job portal today on our livelihood website at wordworks.com. That's WURDworks.com and click jobs. Word on Politics. As we approach the Pennsylvania primary, join incumbent District Attorney Larry Krasner and his challenger, former homicide prosecutor Carlos Vega, as they square off in a live broadcast debate Wednesday, May 12th at 1 p.m. Presented by WURD Radio. Moderated by Charles Ellison, host of Reality Check, and Joanne Bell of the Black Women's Leadership Council. Don't miss this opportunity to hear from the candidates for District Attorney. Wednesday, May 12th at 1 p.m. exclusively on WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD. Streaming live on wordradio.com, the WURD Radio app, or watch live on WURD TV via Facebook and YouTube. Now, a traffic update on WURD Radio.
Good morning. This report sponsored by Smart Mouth, the only 24-hour mouthwash with twice daily use. Looking at 95 southbound, getting jammed, Cotman to Bridge. Again, Betsy Ross through Girard through construction. Northbound looks pretty good. Westbound behind delays. 8th out the Broadigan Parkway through the Schuylkill Expressway. Schuylkill westbound, you're going to find delays Front Street to Penrose Avenue through that long-term work. Eastbound side delays 202 to Gulf Mills. Again, Montgomery through Spring Garden. The Boulevard Route 1 southbound delays. Broad down the Fox through construction. 95 again, 95 through the city. Usual construction delays. 55 northbound jamming Deptford into 42. Stay fresh out there with Smart Mouth mouthwash, the only mouthwash that provides 24 hours of fresh breath with twice daily use. So whatever the day may bring, you can stay sunny with a side of fresh. Grab a bottle today, available wherever mouthwash is sold, or visit smartmouth.com. For more traffic information, log on to sigalert.com. Jim Bachman with your Philadelphia area traffic.
Now, a WURD weather update. Here's NBC 10 First Alert meteorologist Bill Henley.
Partly sunny and cool today, 66 degrees this afternoon. Mainly clear tonight and chilly tomorrow morning, a low of 47, 65 the high on Tuesday. We'll start with sunshine tomorrow, but clouds increase in the afternoon with a slight chance of a late day shower. Still cool, but lots of sunshine on Wednesday, a high of 66. I'm NBC 10 First Alert meteorologist Bill Henley.
It's Wake Up with WURD, hosted by Solomon Jones. Right now on WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD.
Good morning. This is Solomon Jones on 900 AM, 96.1 FM, WURD. I want to welcome you back to Wake Up with Word, and we are, of course, taking your calls at 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. That is the number you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio. Let us know where you are in these various things we're talking about on this morning's show. Brother Hurt's on the line. He's in Virginia. Brother Hurt, how you doing?
What up, family? I love you
How
guys.
you doing?
I'm doing great, man. Hey, Sean,
Good.
the word family, it's a family. You're bad air. I want everybody to get in your phone, call their friends, tell them I love them. Love them while they're here on earth. God bless the preacher and their family, man. I mean, that was deep, but we all got a great shot. And dig this. In Richmond, Virginia, right?
Mm-hmm.
The neighborhoods was all black. The white folks is moving in. I went to a place yesterday. Our house is still on the block. It's all you see is white folks and dogs. So just going over the world. They just coming in, moving you out, and they moving in. So another thing, they got the same killers down here. It's crazy. It's all over the world.
Yeah.
One thing I could say about Virginia, it is clean. I don't see a bunch of trash. But I always love Philly. Philly's my home. And I'm going deeper down south. I'm going to Atlanta, Georgia, and maybe Florida. Anyway, love you guys. I'm going to try to call you guys every day. Peace. Love
All
you,
right, man. Love you back, Brother Hurt. And thank you for your call this morning on WURD Radio. 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. That is the number you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD. Got to give a shout out to the guys from Philly Truce. It is an app that they have started to try to mediate disputes that lead to gun violence. And so they had their launch on Saturday. I was there with them. And, it's something about being out in these streets, right, and actually, seeing folks. So I saw Larry Krasner, had the opportunity to speak to him for a few minutes, and also saw Carlos Vega, who showed up as well. And it's interesting, the response of people in the communities. We were in Nicetown in Cindy Bass's district, and Kenyatta Johnson was there, and State Representative Derisha Parker was there, and State Senator Sharice Street was there, and I believe Congressman Dwight Evans stopped by, Councilwoman Helen Gim and Councilman Alan Dom, and but most of all, the community was there, and so we appreciate that and wish them the very best as they launch this app to try to get people to mediate these disputes before they end in gunfire. And so congratulations to Mazik Kashir and Stephen Pickens and all the people involved in that. We want to hear from you. Give us a call, 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. Brother Joe from Germantown is on line too. Go ahead, Brother Joe.
Hey, what's up, Brother Salmon? How you doing, my good brother?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm doing fine. Our praise be to Allah. Hello to Queen Quasa. I heard our dear friend, our mutual friend on WURD, Michael Kors, Jay McCullough. And Jay laid it out, man. He gave you a nice shout-out, too, yesterday, Brother Salmon. But he laid it out on Mike's show yesterday, man, about Carlos Vega record. And he didn't slander. He just told the truth about his rotten record. And the thing, Brother Salmon, that was telling what Jay McCullough said yesterday. Now, usually when you run against somebody, this is for the WRB family to understand. It's clear that this man is running on revenge and being a stooge of the FOP. And usually when you run against somebody, you're running for change. You say, because I'm better than him, I'm going to change things. When the Inquirer, according to Jay, when the Inquirer asked Vega what current DA Larry Krasner's policy would you change, he said none of them. I wouldn't change anything. So if Larry Krasner is so bad, then why would you want to run and get rid of him if he's doing a job? If you agree with his policy that's in place, the reforms he made and all the things like that, then why would you be running against him? You know what I mean? So, I mean, these are things that people have to look at when they cast their vote in the next couple of weeks and stuff. And see, another thing, too, Brother Stallman, like Jay said, I'm disappointed in the Democratic Committee because they know, and it's made up of different groups of black people, clergy, whatever like that, civic leaders. They know what charged, and the city had to pay out all that money for his allegations. They still endorsed him, but they wouldn't endorse Larry Krasner. You see, this the kind of stuff need to be caught out on the carpet for that, because they know how dangerous out of control police department is to the black community, and for them not to endorse them out of spite work and vibrating, it's part of that truth to it. And Jay put them on blast yesterday too. I mean, these people got to be called out, Stallman, because like you said, our very lives depend on it, man. Because you can't have a police department that's not going to be held accountable and stuff like that. And the DA that's going to be in bed with these people, knowing that our lives is on the line, man. So I'm just saying in closing, on May the 18th, I'll be out there voting for Larry Krasner unabashedly, and I'm encouraging all my family and friends to come out and vote like your life depends, and vote for Larry Krasner on May the 18th. I'm keeping it real, brother.
All right, man. Thank you for your call. I appreciate that. Let's go to Unzi from Elkins Park on line 1. Go ahead, Unzi.
Good morning, Solomon, and condolences to your friend. I'm calling, and I really support Krasner. I voted for him before I moved to Elkins Park. But I'd really like to talk about one of my staff members. Her husband was carjacked, kidnapped, robbed, and executed Thursday in a place called Corwin, which is near Upper Darby. And so that is, and one of the best people I know, IT for a major bank. I'm not going to call the name of the bank. And so, you know, but this is, it's just tragic. And,
oh, man.
And my heart is really heavy. He's a veteran, you know, a church man. I went to his mother's funeral a couple of years ago. She was 90 when she passed, her baby son. And so now in his mid-50s, his life gets snuffed out for a couple of $100 that, you know, somebody. And so all this still a little sketchy. But, you know, I like for the WURD family to pray for my staff and her family in losing her husband. And I hope that, you know, our society would stop the racism and white supremacy. I think that's at the core of why these people did what they did, because opportunities has historically not been available to us. And so this is how people try to survive. It's just unfortunate. And so thank you so much for taking my call.
All right, thank you for your call this morning, and certainly our condolences. 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. That is the number you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio. Let us know where you are on these various things we're talking about on this morning show. We had a lot of roses yesterday. Kawesa, I bought roses, and then Eve bought roses and plants, and it was like it was like a rose parade in here yesterday. And you know what? I'm happy about that, because I want folk to be able to get their roses now.
Yeah.
Get them now.
I
You know what I mean?
with that. I do, yeah. I got my mom some roses also, you know, and you don't have to, you know, spend an arm and a leg for roses. There's places that you can go to get roses, and they're still going to be just as beautiful when you present them to your mom or your wife, or, you know, whomever that special woman is. But yeah, I got my mom some roses too. I think that, you know, and you don't have to just stick to red ones. You have so many different colors.
That's right.
So. Oh,
That's right.
That's beautiful, though.
Yeah. We got the roses yesterday, and, you know, I'll get my roses. You know, it's a certain place I go. Beautiful roses, right? And, you know, then I get my bays separately.
Right. It's cheaper
arrange
that way.
Arrange them myself. You know what I'm saying? With love. You know, and that way everybody get roses. Yep. You know what I'm saying? Yep. So it was just beautiful yesterday, and I think that the mothers and the family enjoyed it, and it was just a pleasure to be able to do that for them. So how did you guys celebrate Mother's Day? Give me a call. 215-634-8065 is the number you can call to get in. Also, talking about the federal indictment of Derek Chauvin and the other 3 officers involved in the murder of George Floyd. And you don't see that often. And so now we have this federal indictment, and the question becomes, why didn't y'all do that in all these other cases? 215-634-8065 is the number you can call to get in. You can also weigh in on Facebook at ForWord at FORWURD. That's FORWURD. Kawhi, so what are they saying this morning on Facebook?
So we have quite a few comments this morning. Shout out to Diane Hamilton Mitchell. Thanks for checking us out this morning. Then also, Kateria McCabe says, condolences to the Simmons family. May he rest in paradise. Yes. Veronica Smith says, good morning, Word family. Blessings to all. Be safe and stay woke. Good morning to A. Malik Stewart as well. Thanks for checking us out also. Veronica Smith, good morning to you. She says good morning. She's saying good morning to us. And Nikki Carter as well. Calvin Moody says, good morning. Sorry to hear of Reverend Leroy's passing. Peace and condolences to his family. Used to hear Reverend Leroy going all the way back to Reggie Bryant. So that's another comment that we have as well. And then we also have here, I'm just trying to scroll through, Sandra Fields, good morning to you. And also Rebecca Truxton, good morning to you as well. Brenda Bellinger says, I enjoyed myself in Atlantic City. And Deborah Dorn Carter says, Solomon, as it should be, a federal indictment should take place. We have a new regime, thank God. Chris Potter is telling me to check out the YouTube comments. I will get to them. I have to look over my shoulder, so I will make sure that next time I read, I will get to those comments. Gloria Gainey is saying good morning also. And then somebody had asked, but I can't see the comment now, but somebody I think had asked how you like your coffee, Solomon. Asked you're a flavored creamer person or just regular cream?
Regular cream.
Yep. Sad how I know that. I was about to just answer for you. I was like, oh my gosh. And then a couple other folks were weighing in as well. So just good morning to everyone who's checking us out. And yes, I promise to get to the YouTube comments a little bit later.
All right. So 215-634-8065 is the number that you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio. And of course, we're talking about our top 3 stories, which include story number 1, the 6 adults killed early Sunday morning. A 7th died as well. They think it was the suspect when somebody opened fire at a birthday party in Colorado Springs, Colorado. Story number 2, 4 former Minneapolis police officers indicted on federal charges unsealed on Friday of violating the civil rights of George Floyd, the black man whose killing last year set off months of nationwide demonstrations against police violence. And story number 3, sometimes you meet people who influence you in ways you can't immediately see. Certainly rest in peace to Reverend Leroy Simmons. We know he's doing boss good. I want to talk about these shortages, man. These shortages of like just crazy stuff, shortages of chicken and shortages of ketchup packets. I don't know about y'all, but I got that drawer in my kitchen, and I think every black family does, with condiments in them. You know, do you have that, Kwesa?
I do. I'm not proud of it, though. I don't want all those condiments. But there's just like something generationally that tells me, it's like the ancestors like, no, store these ketchup packets. Oh my gosh. So yeah, I have a drawer.
Yeah, and every once in a while you got to go through, you got to purge them because the ketchup will start turning like burgundy.
It does. It's like a dark maroon. You're like, what? Is this brown? What color is this?
So I want to hear from y'all. I want to hear that y'all have that drawer. We're going to go to break. On the other side, we're going to continue the show right here on WURD.
Jefferson Health offers no-cost COVID-19 testing sites at St. Raymond of Pinafort Church. Testing is on Thursdays and Saturdays. A second testing location has been added at Richard Allen Preparatory Charter School. Testing is on Wednesdays and Fridays. For testing hours and more information, visit jeffersonhealth.org/community testing.
Hello, this is Councilmember Isaiah Thomas urging you to vote for Judge John Padova on May 18th to keep this distinguished judge on the Court of Common Pleas. In addition to myself, he is also supported by State Senator Tony Williams, as well as State Senator Vincent Hughes, Representatives Joanne McClinton and Jordan Harris, as well as former Governor Ed Rendell and many others. Judge Padova is highly recommended by the Bar Association and endorsed by the Black clergy, as well as a lot of our local unions. For fairness, equity, and compassion, vote Judge Padova for all Philadelphians.
This is Judge Padova, and I approve this message.
WURD Radio presents the following information to help you navigate the upcoming election.
This is Charles Ellison of Reality Check and City Council Live. Still feeling a bit worn out from the 2020 election? We're not done yet. 2021 is another important year when locally you have the power to pick Philadelphia's district attorney. Who will it be? The current DA and incumbent Larry Krasner, or former assistant DA and challenger Carlos Vega? What we know is this is a closely watched bellwether on the future of issues such as mass incarceration, policing, and public safety. If you want to have a direct say over these issues, simply vote in the upcoming primary on May 18th. If you have your mail-in ballot, you can vote by mail starting May 11th. More information can be found at the Philadelphia City Commissioner website, phillyvotes.com. Continue to follow @onWURD and #WordOnPolitics for analysis and updates while tuning in to WURD Radio for special election coverage. Don't talk about your vote, cast it.
Stay informed and vote. For more from Charles Ellison, tune in Monday through Thursday, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. or visit wordradio.com. Now, a traffic update on WURD Radio.
Good morning. This report sponsored by Smart Mouth, the only 24-hour mouthwash with twice daily use. Looking at 95 southbound, pretty jammed up there this morning. Cotman down through Bridge, again, Betsy Ross through Girard. Northbound side looks good. Westbound Vine delays 95 to Broad, again, Parkway through the Schuylkill Expressway. Schuylkill eastbound busy 202 to Gulf Mills, Montgomery to Spring Garden. Westbound side, watch for delays between Front and Penrose through that ongoing long-term construction. Further west, City out to Belmont, a busy ride there. The Boulevard Route 1 southbound delays from Broad down to Fox through construction. 55 northbound traffic jam there from Pittman up to 47 because of an accident. Then north of that, Deptford into 42. Another heavy delay now. There's nothing that'll scare your hot date away faster than bad breath. Luckily, Smart Mouth mouthwash has got your back for 24 full hours with 2 rinses a day. Smart Mouth is available anywhere mouthwash is sold, so pick up a bottle or visit smartmouth.com to learn more. For more traffic information, log on to sigalert.com. Jim Bachman with your Philadelphia area traffic.
Now, a WURD weather update. Here's NBC 10 First Alert meteorologist Bill Henley.
Lingering clouds and cool this morning, but skies become partly sunny during the day. We'll warm into the mid-50s by lunchtime and a high of 66 this afternoon. Clear and cool tonight, 47 the low Tuesday, up to 65 in the afternoon. Morning sunshine, then clouds coming through later in the day with a slight chance of a shower. Bit gusty Tuesday afternoon, winds gusting to 30 miles an hour. Still breezy for Wednesday, partly sunny skies, 66 after a morning low of 43 degrees. I'm NBC 10 First Alert meteorologist Bill Henley.
It's Wake Up with WURD, hosted by Solomon Jones.
Good morning.
Right now on WURD Radio.
96.1 FM.
And 900 AM WURD.
Good morning. This is Solomon Jones on 900 AM, 96.1 FM, WURD. And I'm taking your calls at 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. That's the number you can call to get in. Will Mega from West Philly is on line 1. Good morning, Will.
What's up, Solomon? How are you?
I'm good, brother. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. I think as it relates to why we are this response from why there's a federal indictment, it speaks to the response of the people. So, and this is why I say to folks, especially politicians who get on my darn nerves when they always want to tell folks how they should respond to their oppression. Don't go be peaceful. Don't do this. Yeah. Don't do that. Shut up. The response of the people since the George Floyd case, the not letting up, the on the police is behind every time they turned around. I mean, there was video here in Philadelphia where you had police in mass going through inner city streets where the people just outright resisted their oppression physically. And so when you ask what was the difference was all over this country, whether you like it or not, things were burning and police were being confronted up front. Folks may not like it, but it happened. And so for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. And I believe the government and the powers that be recognize, whoa, we can't afford for this thing to explode greater than that. And so I think that's a serious factor in why we're seeing what we're seeing.
All right, Will, I want to thank you so much for your call this morning on WRD. I think, you know what, one of the things I think is that, it's as simple as a change of administration. Because the Justice Department, man, over the years has become, it's become this political vehicle, especially under the Trump administration. That was crazy, where you actually had the Justice Department trying to defend him against allegations of sexual assault that happened before he was even president. I think that's part of it. But I want to hear from you. You give us a call, 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. That is the number you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio. Let us know where you are on these various things we're talking about on this morning's show. Kuwaisa, what are they saying this morning on Facebook? Of course, you can weigh in there at FORWURD at FORWURD. That is FORWURD. That is where you can weigh in on Facebook and let us know where you are on these topics we're talking about this morning. Kuwaisa, what are they saying on Facebook?
So a few more comments that we have here. Oops, trying to go to them. Sandra Fields says, my son dropped off my gift, and then him and his wife went to visit their grandson. I drove for Uber all day. She has a side eye. No. Aww. Well, hopefully you'll be able to do something to celebrate a little bit more, in the next coming days. But I hear you on that. Tom Bryant is saying good morning. He says, awesome word family. God bless. And God bless to you as well. And then also Marie Stepney says, good morning, Solomon and Kuwaisa. Word family, condolences to the Simmons family, and may he rest in peace. And then Dana Morera says, I have that drawer, and got the little laughing, crying emojis. So yeah. Angelique Stewart says, I used to have a jar of them. So yep, a lot of us have jars as well. And then here are the YouTube comments. Lola Khan says, so the undersheriff of Rochelle Blau has retired after it was proven the sheriff's office didn't vet the online auction company or investigate the company or take other bids. He retired before he was fired. So that's a comment that we have there. Cheney Grad says, Tamir Rice, Eric Gardner, and Alton Sterling were all killed during President Obama's lame duck term. It can't get any more, quote, depending who's in office than that. So that's another comment. Then OG Bootsy says, Solomon, do you remember the Lex Street killings?
I do.
Yeah. And then also Lola is saying spa day at the Borgata, pampered from head to toe, champagne, foot scrub, massage, hot stones, brunch, music, a relaxing day. Wonderful. So yeah, I'm glad that you had a great day. So yeah, Nikki O. Tim, shout out to you for checking us out this morning. But yeah, and lastly, Sean Robinson is checking us out this morning as well. So those are our comments that we have.
All right, 215-634-8065 is the number that you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio. Let us know where you are on these various things we're talking about on this morning's show. The pandemic's created shortages of all kinds of stuff, including chicken and ketchup packets. We try to keep, that last little piece of chicken like frozen because you never know, man. And a package, you know what I mean? It might be wings, it might be a whole chicken, it might be something, but there's always something in there frozen. It might be that last thing, man, because that might be, you might have to cut up them wings and make it stretch. You might have to cut that chicken in 8 pieces, make that stretch. You got to do what you got to do. But yeah, we don't have a shortage of that. We don't have a shortage of ketchup packets because we got the drawer. But this is the first time I heard of the jar, Kuwaisa. Now, apparently, you've heard of this jar before.
Yes, yes. My mother has several jars.
Okay.
You know, because after a while, when it gets out of control,
I know.
you can't, like, and you dig in, you're like, oh, I know there's some soy sauce in here somewhere, but you can't get past, like, the honey mustard packets and the ketchup. So, you know, you got to go and you get you some, like, you know, dollar store jars, you know, whatever, a few of them, and just, you know, stick them all in there. So duck sauce and soy sauce go in one, and you got the mustard, I mean, the ketchup and mustard in another jar. So, yeah, I've heard of it. I'm quite familiar.
No, that's a good idea because we got it all in the drawer. And you're right. It's like, and so Lamita likes to put the menus in the drawer too.
That's smart. That's what I do. I have.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's one-stop shopping.
It
So
is.
you go in, you got, you know, if you're eating stuff at home, you got your ketchup, you got your soy sauce, you got your, you know, your hot sauce, you got chili sauce, taco sauce, like all of that stuff. Is in the drawer, but the menus are in there too. So in case you just don't feel like, you know, using the condiments on your homemade stuff, you can call but it becomes unruly. It does. The drawer is unruly, Kwesa.
Yeah. So that's why we, you know, my mom has the drawers. I have not
Okay.
graduated to jars yet. But yeah, my mom has the jars, and I'm like, maybe I'll get on that level of, you know. But I try so hard not to keep them, and then I end up falling right back into the drawer and throwing them in there. So one day I'll graduate to jars. I'm sure I will.
215-634-8065 is the number you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD. Sharif from West Philly is on line one. Go ahead, Sharif.
Good morning, Solomon. Thanks for picking up my call.
You're welcome.
Solomon, I think one way we can address those shortages, you know, we need to increase the minimum wage because a lot of people, a lot of people suffered, you know, and a lot of people are feared to go back to work, especially when you're going to be interacting with a lot of other people. So that's one way we can address that.
Raise the minimum wage, you said. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
People suffer, Solomon. I mean, after the shutdown of COVID, people don't have money to pay for their rent. They don't have money to leave, nothing. So they were barely making minimum, you know, to survive. You know, and now with this unemployment, at least it's helping them to stay above water. I don't think anyone wants to go back to be making, you know, $9 an hour or whatever, you know. So, again, and that's why I think Joe Biden's plan, infrastructure and then family care, and it's expensive to leave your kids in daycare and take care of them and live on minimum wage. It's expensive. You can't live on that, you know. So, and that's why we need to go in this direction. But the point that you make about the administration change, it is the reason why these people are indicted. You are exactly right. And I was just talking with my colleague this weekend that what if Trump could have won a second term? I don't think we will get to normality where we are right now, because I think he will just continue to politicize everything, keep saying all the wrong things, keep lying over and over again. You know, I don't think he will even be serious anymore, because in the second time he will not care. You know, and people should get reminded that Democrats are in control of Congress by 4 votes. And the Senate is tied. In other words, these people can come back and take over, and we see what direction they're going. They're ready to go with the big lie. And they're very serious about it, Solomon.
Yeah, they are. You're right.
Thank you very much for picking up my call.
All right, man. Thank you for your call this morning on WURD. You know, he's right. They are very serious about that lie. We're going to keep telling this lie. And, you know, it's a propaganda technique that I learned about in the 6th grade. Thank God for good education, in Philadelphia public schools. Shout out to Masterman. Sixth grade, man, they taught us about propaganda techniques. And I don't know, it's one of those things that kind of stuck with me. And one of those propaganda techniques is the big lie. You just keep telling it until people begin to believe it. And so Donald Trump, a master of the big lie, you know, you tell a lie that's so big and so outrageous that people say, well, he wouldn't tell a lie that big, it must be true. And so they begin to consider it. And then as you tell it over and over and over again, you reinforce it until that big lie becomes the truth. You know what I mean? And that's what they've done with the election. They're very serious about it. Oh, we can use this to do all kinds of stuff, man, that we couldn't do. We didn't have the nerve to do before because they would have called us out on it. So we can just keep telling this big lie and use it to suppress people's votes. We can tell this big lie and use it to take people's rights away. We can tell this big lie and use it to change the way that politics operates in America. Jacob from Olney is online too. Go ahead, Jacob.
Hey, peace be unto you, Brother Solomon. For one, my prayer is that Reverend Leroy is going to be boss good on that great getting up day.
How about that?
That the work that he did down here and the faith that he showed in his Creator will get his mercies from this God, and he'll be all right. He'll be in the city, Wood Street paved with gold, right? But you know what? I want to say, look, where's our faith in God, man? You know, we look at 45 and his ilk, and some kind of way, we lose faith, like God is going to let this crap win over the truth in this day, right? In this country, with what we're waking up. Do we have more faith in ourselves than that? Stacey Abrams, right? A person like her, she don't take what they're doing, laying down and crying.
Yeah.
She get up and get to work and get the job done. So we got to get this mustard seed faith that the scriptures speak of, because I hear too many people succumb to, oh, Lord, the Republicans, and oh, Lord. Man, please, that's over, man. And I'm with you. The administrative change made the difference in how this thing is going down with the George Floyd thing. Let me tell you something. 95% of what they burnt down didn't affect white people. They had nothing to do. They didn't burn down the stores in their neighborhood. They didn't catch the bus and go nowhere. They burned down what was affecting black people. So that burning down thing, man, them days is over. We don't have to do that. We need to build the laws that make bills in the Senate and the House. That's what we need to do. That other stuff is child's play, if you ask me. But, yeah, I think it was the administrative change that, you know, you got better people in there that was more human, and now we got people working, and that's what we got to continue to do. Again, we only burn down where we are. So I don't think that's the deal, not me. Thank you, Solomon P.
All right. I want to thank you so much for your call this morning on WURD Radio. We're going to go to break. On the other side, we're going to continue the show right here on WURD.
We do all we can to ensure our kids are happy, healthy, safe, and strong. Having high-quality, low-cost health insurance helps make that possible. With CHIP, your child can have medical, dental, eye care, and more for free or low cost. Whether you're self-employed, unemployed, or your employee benefits are just too expensive, CHIP is there for you to help your child be strong. CHIP Strong. Apply or renew today at 800-986-KIDS or go to chipcoverspakids.com.
Paid for with Pennsylvania taxpayer dollars.
Hi, this is Philly Congressman Brendan Boyle reminding you to please get your COVID-19 vaccine. Remember, the vaccines are free, safe, and the best way to protect you and your loved ones from COVID-19. And if your vaccine requires a second shot, please don't skip it. It's just as important as the first. If you want more information, you can email me at brendanboyle@mail.house.gov. Remember, Philly, our best shot at beating COVID is through the vaccine.
Paid for by official funds authorized by the House of Representatives.
Get free income tax preparation until May 17th at the African Cultural Alliance of North America. Call now for an appointment. 215-729-8225. Small businesses welcome.
The Pennsylvania Horticultural Society supports WURD and presents the 2021 Philadelphia Flower Show, Habitat Nature's Masterpiece, June 5th to 13th. Now blooming outdoors for the first time ever at FDR Park in South Philadelphia. Safely enjoy 15 acres of blooming gardens and artful floral displays, shopping, entertainment, and new food and beverage options, including park picnics and beer gardens, taking place outdoors this summer. Tickets and details available at phsonline.org.
Looking for something fun to watch at home? The Wilma Theater's film production of Fat Ham by Philadelphia playwright James Imes is now streaming online. Fat Ham, directed by Morgan Green, tells the story of a young black man trying to find his joy.
You carrying around your whole family's trauma, man. And that's okay. You okay. But you don't gotta let it define you.
Fat Ham mixes a joyful message of resilience with the humor of a black 90s sitcom. Fat Ham is streaming on demand now through May 23rd. To watch the trailer, visit the Wilma Theater online at wilmatheater.org.
This is WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD Philadelphia.
Independent Black Media.
You're waking up
with WURD.
Hosted by Solomon Jones.
Good morning.
Right now on WURD Radio.
96.1 FM.
And 900 AM WURD.
Good morning. This is Solomon Jones on 900 AM, 96.1 FM, WURD. And we're taking your calls at 215-634-8065. That's the number you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio. 215-634-8065 is the number. And talking about a number of things on this morning's show, the gun violence continues across the United States. It's not just Philadelphia. 7 people were killed early Sunday morning when a suspect opened fire at a birthday party in Colorado Springs, Colorado. The suspect, who was allegedly the boyfriend of one of the victims, took his own life, according to police. 4 former Minneapolis police officers indicted on federal charges unsealed on Friday after the show of violating the civil rights of George Floyd, the black man whose killing last year set off months of nationwide demonstrations against police violence. And story number 3, one of our own, Reverend Leroy, has gone on to be with the Lord. We certainly appreciate and celebrate him and celebrate all of you, because I think, you know, in thinking about him and about the relationship between WURD and our listeners, it's family. And so we appreciate him and all that he's done, and we appreciate each and every one of you as well. We want to hear from you. Give us a call, 215-634-8065. And, of course, the big question, do you have the drawer with the ketchup packets in it? I need to know, because I think when you talk about a shortage of ketchup packets across the United States, and, you know, a shortage of chicken, a shortage of ketchup packets, a shortage of gas. Have you seen the gas prices, Kawesa?
Oh,
you had to get gas lately?
I got gas, on Saturday, and it's like almost $3 by me. Maybe that's low compared to what
you in Jersey,
right? But
that's
it's like
low.
$3, and I'm just like, wait, what? And we just got over that weird like hump where it was, you know, going up 10 cents like every week, and now it's back up to $3. Like, come on.
Yeah, I passed by a whole bunch of gas stations in Philly where it was $3.09.
No.
Right. I found one where it was $3.05 and felt like that was a bargain. Like it's bad. It's bad in Philly. And, you know, in Jersey, I don't see how y'all price is cheaper and you don't even have to pump your own gas. Like,
I mean, you know, don't hate.
You know what I mean? Like, hold up. That ain't, you know, but I want to hear from you guys. 215-634-8065. You got all these shortages, but I tell you what, black folk got that drawer. We got the drawer where the ketchup packets are. So I want to hear from you. Give me a call, 215-634-8065. Lynn from Darby's on line 1. Go ahead, Lynn.
Good morning, WURD family, Solomon and Kuwaita.
Good morning.
You know that gas pipeline stuff has a lot to do with why the prices went up. I was telling Kuwaisa, we were over in Jersey celebrating Mother's Day, and afterwards, my sister, she went to get some gas, and she said, "This is just as high as it is in Philly." So you know that thing where the hackers are asking for money and they close down the pipeline. So family, we got to pray on that. So anyway, I want to give my condolences to Reverend Leroy. You know I keep word on 24/7, and I heard so many calls over the weekend about Reverend Leroy. He was a great man on the Vicky and Cody Electric Magazine show. Last week he was on there, and he was talking about his sickle cell and how he went blind, and he was calling attention to that. And it just is so alarming how that disease is still with us, and you know how he went to go home and be with the Lord within a week. So he called attention to that. So I knew he was a great man because all day Saturday the host honored him. And I also want to give my condolences out to the gentleman who got killed in Caldwell. I'm right next door, so that's super alarming to me. And thank God for good callers. Like I respect all these callers, but Jacob, he is just a bomb. He just gives you a extra boost of, motivation to start your day every time he calls. And he's right. We got to keep our faith. And you're right, Solomon, about the administration. That does make a difference. And like I said, my Mother's Day was beautiful. I don't know if you could tell. I got a cold. This wacky weather. One night I slept with my feet exposed, no socks, and I got a cold. So we went over to my brother's house, and I just wanted to drop off the Mother's Day cards to his wife and my niece. And her baby, who we haven't seen since she was born, little Naomi, born December 11th, 2019. And it was the first time I saw her, so that was a great treat. And my brother, he had an impromptu cookout, and hamburgers, ribs, macaroni and cheese, and greens and lettuce from his own garden.
Oh, wow.
It was beautiful. It was a garden trough. So people who are of older age, like me, and can't bend, you could grow your vegetables in this trough, and everything was just so delicious. I had a surprise, wonderful Mother's Day. And I was telling Kuwait, so we went to Collingswood, and we gave a homegoing to my cousin Philip D. Shields. So shout out to all the D. Shields in Camden. And it was a beautiful service. We played Motown because he loves Motown. And I just had a wonderful Mother's Day, and I hope everyone else did. And I'm going to keep on celebrating. And Solomon, Kuwaisa, as usual, y'all do a fantastic job. You make me feel like family, and God bless you all. And I just thank the Lord for this radio station. And kudos to the Lomax family. Happy belated Mother's Day. I forgot to give the women their flowers and mention them too. But like Cody said, mentioning them and their names will go on forever. Thank you. Take care.
Thank you. We appreciate your call this morning on WURD Radio. Let's talk to Penda from West Philly on line 3. Go ahead, Penda.
Yes. My condolences to the Simmons family. And I just wanted to tell a beautiful story of Leroy and his wife. My ex-husband and I, he was very good friends of Leroy. But anyway, at that time, we went and got married in Vegas. And so when we came back, he told Reverend Leroy we had went and got married. And Reverend Leroy was like, we're not having that. We're going to give you a wedding and a reception. And his beautiful wife and him gave us the most beautiful reception in their back. And he remarried us. We had to do the whole jump over the broom. And it was just so beautiful. And that is just he was just such a beautiful person and had a beautiful, kind heart. And his wife, sincere, we were forever grateful to him and her for this beautiful wedding. He gave us, we didn't pay anything, and they had Alfie Pilot there, and we had the most beautiful wedding. So I'm just truly, just fond memories of Leroy and his wife, and I just need to tell that story just to let people know how his heart was. And may he rest in peace and in power, because he was a beautiful person. Yeah.
All right. I want to thank you so much for your call this morning on WURD. Is Olani on there? Okay, let's go to Rita. Rita's on the line from South Philly. She's on line too. Go ahead, Rita.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
This is Stinky. How you doing? Okay.
I'm good. How you doing?
Okay, let's get
Good.
to it. What you're experiencing with gas prices, food prices, bread prices is called inflation, and it's going to go as high as 80%. Okay, that's what happens when you print a lot of money. A lot of people are not aware of this. What makes money valuable is too few people have it. If all of us had $500 million, we wouldn't be worth $500 million. That's just the way the system is set up. Okay, that's the way it works. Now, let's get to Floyd and these rookie police officers. Number one, the rookies should not be charged, and I'm going to tell you why. I have to admit, Solomon, if I was a rookie, I would have shot the police officer. I've been in jail, and somebody would have to come get me out. Number one.
You would have shot who? Chauvin?
Yeah. I hate to say it, but the rookie officer told him, sir, don't you think you should get off your neck? Most people are not aware of this. When you first get to that police department and you're a rookie, you're really not a cop. It all consists on how you do your performance. There was nothing they could do. He was the officer in charge. Now, who should also be fired is a crazy person who put those rookies with that crazy man. But also you have to realize this was personal between two men. This was not black, white, you met me on the street. It was more to it than that.
How you know?
I told you, okay,
How you know?
Told you. When you look at him, I said, wait a minute. This is personal. This is beyond black and white. See, people make fun of me, but really got a brain. I think those two used to work together, okay, at a nightclub. Was I right? I saw this. It was just, I said, this is personal stuff. Now, here's another thing. He wasn't aware that he had also taken a fentanyl overdose. See, there's two different tapes.
So you had 38 witnesses who testified for the prosecution.
Right.
And they talked exhaustively about the fentanyl in his system because the police wanted to make it seem like he died from a fentanyl overdose. But several of those witnesses were doctors, and they said, no, he did not die from the fentanyl overdose. So I just need to say that. But go ahead.
Okay, there's two different tapes. You was under the impression, just like I was, that this was the first time that George Floyd called out for his mother. This is the second time. The first time when he took a, not this time when he got killed, there was another time which they have a copy of the tape. The police department had it. They didn't want to release that to the public. The part where he's crying for his mother. This is the second time he did this. Because when a man is crying out for his mother, you can't do nothing but cry because you're emotional and it's terrible to see. But here's another thing. If I had walked up on Chevy, I would took my pop and knocked him upside doggone head. That's just how I am. Because enough is enough. And here's another thing that Chevy did wrong. You know, this is personal stuff between you and the cops. Let somebody else take him in. You stay the hell away from him. Stay away from him. See, he let stuff get the better of him. All of us have been angry. All of us.
See, I don't think it was that because, you know, he's done this before multiple times. He had 18 complaints against him over the course of his 19-year career. That's almost a complaint a year. He choked people before. He put his knee on people's necks before. People he didn't know, people he hadn't worked with. That's why he's been indicted not once but twice by the feds for civil rights violations, one for George Floyd and one for a 14-year-old boy who he did the same thing to. And so I don't buy that he did this because it was personal. I think he did it because that's what he do.
But wait a minute, but here's the other thing, though, Solomon. Remember I told you the person that put them rookie cops with that crazy man, that is the one who should be on top. See, you don't put the rookie cops with crazy officers like that. They knew that man was crazy.
But all of them wasn't rookies, though. All of them weren't rookies. And I don't know. I mean, maybe one of them, but I got to look. But I don't think any of them were rookies. Maybe one. Maybe one. But they had years on the force.
Wait a minute now. Now, here's the thing. If that's not true, then you have to get to your journalist. They claim that these people had something less than 2 to 3 weeks on the job. It was with somebody else, and they assigned them to him. But I said, why would you? See, he was one of them kick your butt cops. And quiet as a chap, some people like them. That's just like my sister has a habit. If she gets in trouble.
Okay, 2 of them were rookies.
Okay.
2 of them were rookies, and 2 of them were not.
Right. Now, here's what my sister tells 911. If there's a fight or a gun, she says, now, I want you to send some police officers. Don't send me no unprofessional. Send me a Roman soldier. The Roman soldier cops is going to beat you behind. That's not for us. That's not good for us. So, it is what it is. I think personally that if I'm paying you my tax dollars, right, and you work for me, then you have to treat me with the same professionalism that you treat white people. That's where I'm at. What's getting ready to happen now, Simon, is this. When you call the cops, they ain't coming. So what's going to happen, you're going to see.
All right, well, if they don't come, they fired. I mean, it's, to me, it's real simple. To me, it's real simple. We pay them to protect and serve in our community. If you can't do that, you're fired. We need somebody else. It's real simple to me. It's not even complicated.
But see, here's the thing, Solomon. Now you're a talk show host. What would you do if you quit your job and nobody wanted your job? So now you have to play music all day because you can't get. That's what you're getting down to with the police force. They got positions that's open all across the country. Nobody wants a job. So that's when you're going to see the other side of what's really going to happen here. Because you got to remember, people are naturally greedy. The criminals will say, no cops coming. We can do anything we want to do.
Yeah, I don't buy that. And I want to thank you for your call this morning on WURD. I think that, you don't want the job, then we had to give it to somebody else. You know what I mean? And, y'all going to have to do the job right. Bottom line, like there is no, we ain't, okay. All right, well, you get a job to somebody else. There has to be change within that system. The system is not operating to the benefit of the people it's supposed to serve. Now, maybe it's operating the way it's supposed to, but we can't rest until it changes. That's where I'm at. Olanian from Nicetown is on line 1. Go ahead, Olanian.
Good morning. I'd like to thank WURD Radio for exposing us to Reverend Leroy. And I just learned today that his last name is Simmons. Changing subjects, please vote for Larry Krasner and send all those police to jail. If we have to push and find some actions that are stronger than looting. Police killings are still going on. Wrongful police shootings are still going on. And definitely looting is not the answer. So we have to find something stronger than just looting. Take care.
All right, man. I want to thank you for your call this morning on WURD Radio. We are going to go to break, and on the other side of this break, we're going to talk with our next guest. Her name is Kristen Henning. She's a Bloom Professor of Law and Director of the Juvenile Justice Clinic at Georgetown Law. She's going to talk to us about some of the work she's doing. It is now award-winning work. She's going to get an award from the Juvenile Justice Commission. I'm Solomon Jones. We'll be right back.
Philadelphia, it's State Representative Joanna McClinton. The stakes in this year's district attorney's race couldn't be higher. For decades, the DA's office devastated black communities through brutal punishment while never holding police accountable. DA Larry Krasner has changed that in just 3 short years, while his opponent spent 35 years relentlessly pushing the policies that destroyed our communities. We cannot let him take us back. We have everything to lose. We must keep moving forward. Vote now, vote early, vote Krasner for DA on May the 18th.
Paid for by Krasner for DA.
Breakthrough of Greater Philadelphia is a free academic enrichment program providing 7th, 8th, and 9th grade students with high grades and motivation. Join them June 28th through August 6th at Germantown Friends School. For information, call 267-255-9651.
Hi, WURD family. My name is Kim Hall Jackson, and I am a colorectal cancer survivor. I am also a wife, a mother, a sister, an aunt, and now a grandmother. This Mother's Day, the best gift you can give is the gift of life with the Go to Know campaign. WURD Radio has partnered with the Colorectal Cancer Alliance, Independence Blue Cross Foundation, Penn Medicine, and LabCorp to provide free screening for colon cancer. WURD listeners can register to see if they qualify for a free at-home screening test. Most will. The Go to Know campaign aims to provide African Americans with access to free testing for colon cancer screening. You know, as mothers, we always put our families first, but now we need to put ourselves first and all the mothers in our lives. I am a 10-plus year cancer survivor. In those 10 years, I've attended my daughter's wedding, 4 college graduations, and proudly became a grandmother. Get your test today. Go to the Go to Know banner on WURDradio.com and register for your loved ones and yourself today.
Hi, this is John.
Hi, this is Juanita, owners of JD's Auto Body and Painting. We're located at 6300 Wayne Avenue, right there at the intersection of Wayne and Washington Lane.
We really like to thank all you WURD listeners for the support that you've given our business, and we really hope to see you in the future.
JD, tell them about our products and services we have.
We have a new state-of-the-art paint shop along with our body shop and detail shop. We can help you with the dents and scratches from the winter season.
Come to JD's Auto Body and Painting. Come on out and check us out. We're still honoring that WURD 10% discount. Give us a call, 215-848-5949. Again, 215-848-5949.
Thanks again for supporting our business. We really appreciate you.
See you at JD's Auto Body and Painting.
Now, a traffic update
on WURD Radio.
Good morning. This report sponsored by Smart Mouth, the only 24-hour mouthwash with twice daily use. Delays pretty heavy. Schuylkill Expressway westbound, first front to Penrose through construction. Then again, jam from City out through Belmont. Eastbound busy 202 to Gulf Mills, from Montgomery to Spring Garden. Westbound by 95 to Broad Heavy Parkway through the Schuylkill Expressway. 95 in Philly southbound. That jams Copman through Bridge through construction. Again, Betsy Ross through Girard. Northbound through the city, not bad. 55 northbound. Delays in the area 47. That accident finally cleared. Then northbound, your jam Deptford into 42. Stay fresh out there with Smart Mouth mouthwash, the only mouthwash that provides 24 hours of relief with a twice daily use. So whatever the day may bring, you can stay sunny with a side of fresh. Grab a bottle today, available wherever mouthwash is sold, or visit smartmouth.com. For more traffic information, log on to sigalert.com. Jim Bachman with your Philadelphia area traffic.
Now, a WURD weather update. Here's NBC 10 First Alert meteorologist Bill Henley.
Lingering clouds and cool this morning, but skies become partly sunny during the day. We'll warm into the mid-50s by lunchtime and a high of 66 this afternoon. Clear and cool tonight, 47 the low Tuesday, up to 65 in the afternoon. Morning sunshine, then clouds coming through later in the day with a slight chance of a shower. Bit gusty Tuesday afternoon, winds gusting to 30 miles an hour. Still breezy for Wednesday, partly sunny skies, 66 after a morning low of 43 degrees. I'm NBC 10 First Alert meteorologist Bill Henley.
It's Wake Up with WURD, hosted by Solomon Jones. Right now on WURD Radio.
96.1 FM.
And 900 AM WURD.
Good morning. This is Solomon Jones on 900 AM, 96.1 FM, WURD. I want to welcome you back to Wake Up with Word as we await our next guest. We're going to take your calls at 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. That's the number you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio. Let us know where you are on these various things we're talking about on this morning's show. 215-634-8065 is the number you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio. You can, of course, also weigh in on Facebook at onWURD at FORWURD. That's FORWURD. Let us know where you are on these various things we're talking about on this morning's show. Story number one, 6 adults killed early Sunday morning when a suspect opened fire at a birthday party in Colorado Springs, Colorado. A 7th person was found with grave injuries and later died, making 7 at that mass shooting. Story number 2, 4 former Minneapolis police officers indicted on federal charges unsealed on Friday of violating the civil rights of George Floyd, the black man whose killing last year set off months of nationwide demonstrations against police violence. Rita called in. Rita said you shouldn't arrest the rookies. Of course, 2 of them were rookies, and so I want to make sure we make that correction. 2 of them were rookies in that particular case, but all of them charged in the death of George Floyd. Immediately see Reverend Leroy Simmons, for me, was one of those people. I met him over 15 years ago, and may he rest in peace. So we want to hear from you. Give us a call. 215-634-8065 is the number that you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio. Let us know where you are on these various things we're talking about on this morning's show. Kawesa, what are they saying this morning on Facebook?
So we do have a few comments here. Oops, and I lost it that quickly. All right, here we go. Veronica, I lost it that quickly. Veronica Smith says, on Saturday, she said, my goddaughter was visiting, went out, got a burger. They gave us 10 packets of ketchup for $1 burger. I put them in a Ziploc bag in the fridge until I throw them out. So that's one comment. Jody Mayfield says, wow, you usually only get 2. I know that's right. That's what I do with mine. So that's another comment. You know, the last time I went to Burger King, I don't like Burger King. I have my issues with them. But they didn't give me any ketchup or condiments. They didn't even ask me for any kind. So, you know, you're really lucky, Veronica. They gave you a ketchup. Patrick Dove says, I miss Miss Rita. He said, please ask her for her future predictions. And then Mimi Gee said that she was about to go, but then Rita was on, and so she's glad she didn't tell everybody. So that's another comment. And then Laura Elam says, hey, good morning, everyone. I love Word. Please keep your eye on the Man Up program called Man Up PHL. There's a lot of changes to help you or your young man to change the narrative. So she says she's looking forward to being a part of the program and feel that on this weekend and everyone be blessed. So that's a comment that she's saying here. Ozias Johnson says we can blame the stimmy for those gas prices. So that's another comment. Sherry Vaughn says, my condolences to the Simmons family. Great loss. Rest in peace, Leroy. So that's another one that we have here. Gasper Santos says, this primary will be important for criminal justice in Philly, but I hear little about it outside of Word. So that's another comment that we have also. And a few other folks were talking about their ketchup packets. I was trying to go over to those folks here. Dana Morera says, I have mine sorted in a Ziploc baggies and put them all in the drawer. And then Cinque Blue says, good morning, Word. Lord have mercy. I didn't realize all the small packages of condiments in my kitchen. A lot of Louisiana hot sauce and ketchup seems to be my specialty. So that's another comment that we have here as well. Craig Williams says, condiment shortage? What you need? Ketchup, spicy mustard, soy sauce, Chick-fil-A sauce? My wife has it all organized in jars. So shout out to Derisha K. Parker. She says, good morning, Queen Kuwais and Solomon Jones. It was great seeing and speaking with you at Philly Truce at Nicetown Park on Saturday. And then Gloria Gainey says, so it's not just me. I've had jars, baggies, but now I have containers. Help! So it's another comment. But yep, those are our folks that we have right now, and I will continue to read the comments as I go.
And you know what? Like over the years, because I realized, like, you know, they got kids working at these fast food places, and they will give you a handful of ketchup, right? And I started telling them, no, I just need one or two. But you know what? Now that I think about it, I need all of them.
Yep. Give me all of them. And don't even think about charging me 10 cents for additional packets.
That's right. So I got to put them in my drawer. It's the same thing with napkins now. So if you have a car, right? You know what I'm about to say. So if you have a car and you go through a fast food place, you absolutely, if you're black, right? You get the napkins and you got to put them in your glove compartment because you need napkins. You know what I mean? Something might spill. You might have to blow whatever. You might have to wipe your mouth. Whatever. You need to have some napkins in you. So that's the other thing that we get from these places. We don't put them in the drawer in the kitchen, but we do put them in the glove compartment in the car. Kawesa, is that just a black thing?
I don't know. I couldn't, but I know that I do the same thing. I just always find it to be important to make sure you have a couple extra napkins. You just never know. I usually, what ends up happening is there's like a random spider that just kind of floats across my dashboard. I'm like, oh, and I'm like, I don't have anything to kill it with. Well, now I do, because I keep, napkins and things like that in my car. So then, I don't have that issue. But it's usually always like a random bug that I'm trying to kill on the dashboard.
Miss Young from Philly is on line one. Go ahead, Miss Young.
Hi, Solomon. I'm calling for a different topic. It's about lift rescue prayers.
About lift rescue prayers.
What did you say?
I said about, what did you say it was?
Lift rescue prayers. What it is that Jesus, he needs saved people to pray, and Jesus will lift the people that are in fire, hellfire, outfire, and a lake of fire, because he said that he didn't want the people to go there, but nobody saved prayed in that area. And I went around the city and the state and got the people to pray in that area, and Jesus had lift rescues up and running. And basically what it is that he would war Satan, get Satan to surrender all the human souls to Jesus Christ. And
all right. I want to thank you for your call this morning on WURD Radio. Okay. 215-634-8065 is the number you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio. 215-634-8065 is the number you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio. Man, oh man, oh man, our folk. 215-634-8065. That's the number you can call. And, of course, you could also weigh in on Facebook at FORWURD at FORWURD. That's FORWURD. And let us know where you are on these various things we're talking about on this morning's show. Kawesa, I don't even know what to ask you. I don't even know. 215-634-8065 is the number that you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio, and let us know where you are in these various things we're talking about. So another mass shooting, this time in Colorado. And, it's interesting that these are the things that you see and hear about on the news, the mass shootings that take place outside of our community. But you don't hear a whole lot about the everyday shootings that take place within our community, and that is a function of how media operates. I've been in the media for well over 20 years in one capacity or another. And, the media, when you go into newsrooms, is overwhelmingly white. And so that bias plays a role in how things are reported and in what is given priority, right? And so, you talk about the shootings that take place in other communities, mass shootings, of course, big stories, but you don't really talk about the shootings that take place over arguments or over drugs or over, family disputes, within Black and brown communities. And these are the ones that are really piling up the numbers. And I got a problem with that. We have to talk about that. We have to focus on that because it comes from not a single grievance or not from a person who's experiencing an episode, not from a person who's had a dispute with somebody in a household or is a disgruntled employee or just can't handle failure. No, this comes from all kinds of problems that have piled up as a result of systemic racism. Lack of education, systemic racism. Lack of money in a community, systemic racism. Lack of investment in a community, systemic racism. Lack of mental health care available in a community, systemic racism. Like all of these things pile up and begin to create an atmosphere in which you've got people who feel like, you know, this is what we do. We don't have any choice. So on one hand, you have folks who, you know, this is just what we going to do because we criminals. And then on the other hand, you have folks who, man, I'm armed because I'm scared. You know, and where's the story about that? You know, I got a problem with that. You know, we are dealing with some stuff, man, some generational stuff in our communities that are the direct result of systemic racism. Drugs flooding into our community and really ruining families, right? And so you have people who might have one parent, might not have the other parent because drugs have been introduced into our community, flooded into our community, and have broken families apart. You have people who have no idea that they're even supposed to have two parents, because it's not the norm anymore when they look, and that's just a couple generations removed. When you introduce drugs, when you introduce guns, when you flood a community with these things, and you have a community where you have purposely deprived them of resources that they need, resources like education. Okay, y'all got education? Okay, you ain't gonna have no library. Oh, you got a library? Okay, you ain't gonna have no books. Oh, you got books? You ain't gonna have no librarian. Like, that's real in our schools. And then you wonder why people come out of those environments and they are engaged in this negative behavior. You set it up that way. You know, that's the story. And certainly my condolences go out to those who are victims of mass shootings in places like Atlanta and Colorado and Chicago and all over this country. Certainly our heart goes out to those people, but really the violence that's going on is, you know, the argument, the drug dealing, the domestic disputes. Like, that's really where the bulk of this stuff is happening. And guess what? It's happening in our community. Where's the story about that? I want to hear from you. Give me a call, 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. That is the number you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD. And, of course, the indictment of 4 Minneapolis police officers on federal charges unsealed Friday after our show, violating the civil rights of George Floyd, the black man whose killing last year set off months of nationwide demonstrations against police violence. And, of course, story number 3, a member of the WURD family has passed on, Reverend Leroy Simmons. May he rest in peace. We want to hear from you. Give us a call. 215-634-8065 is the number you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD. We're going to go to break. On the other side, we're going to continue to take your calls. I'm Solomon Jones. We'll be right back.
We do all we can to ensure our kids are happy, healthy, safe, and strong. Having high-quality, low-cost health insurance helps make that possible. With CHIP, your child can have medical, dental, eye care, and more for free or low cost. Whether you're self-employed, unemployed, or your employee benefits are just too expensive, CHIP is there for you to help your child be strong. CHIP Strong. Apply or renew today at 800-986-KIDS or go to chipcoverspakids.com.
Paid for with Pennsylvania taxpayer dollars.
Hi, this is Philly Congressman Brendan Boyle reminding you to please get your COVID-19 vaccine. Remember, the vaccines are free, safe, and the best way to protect you and your loved ones from COVID-19. And if your vaccine requires a second shot, please don't skip it. It's just as important as the first. If you want more information, you can email me at brendanboyle@mail.house.gov. Remember, Philly, our best shot at beating COVID is through the vaccine.
Paid for by official funds authorized by the House of Representatives.
This Word Wellness Vignette is brought to you by Keystone First. Word Radio presents the following wellness tip to support our listeners with mindfulness and motivation as we continue to navigate the pandemic together.
This is Halana, your resident expert health and wellness coach, with tips to help you stay well. Let's talk about your choice not to smoke. Now, of all the healthy lifestyle choices you can make, this could be the most important. Did you know that smoking causes cancer, heart disease, and even type 2 diabetes? Smoking is also responsible for upwards of 440,000 American deaths per year. Here's the thing. When you smoke, it becomes difficult for the blood in your body to flow freely, often leaving you tired and cranky. It also contributes to the decrease in circulation, which can severely affect your immune system. In a time where we need our immune system to be in tip-top shape to keep us healthy and safe, choosing not to smoke is one of the best choices you could make. Commit to living smoke-free today and boost your immune system in as little as 1 day. Let's choose to strengthen our immune systems, improve our lung function, and decrease our risk for stroke or heart attack by not smoking. Choosing not to smoke is something we can all do to support our overall personal and community health. Go ahead, commit today. Stay well with WURD. Happy, healthy living.
Stay well with Word. Connect with us at wordradio.com. This Word Wellness Vignette was brought to you by Keystone First. For more information, visit KeystoneFirstPA.com.
From safe to seamless, convenient to contactless, and local to express, SEPTA is the Philly way to go. Plan your trip at iSEPTAPhilly.com.
Hey, Word family, Reverend Leroy with a boss good recommendation for Clark Roofing. I found them to be a solid business, honest, dependable, fast, and clean workers. Mr. Clark stands by his work. Call him at 215-365-7663.
Call Clark Roofing and ask for a second-generation master roofer, Calvin Clark. Clark Roofing professionally installs a variety of roofing systems for your home or businesses. Call Clark Roofing at 215-365-7663 or visit their website at clarkroofingpa.com.
It's Wake Up with Word, hosted by Solomon Jones. Right now on Word Radio.
96.1 FM.
And 900 AM WURD.
Good morning. This is Solomon Jones on 900 AM, 96.1 FM, WURD, and I want to welcome you back to Wake Up with Word, and we're taking your calls at 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. That's the number that you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio. Let us know where you are on these various things we are talking about on this morning show, 215-634-8065. That is the number that you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD. Somebody on Facebook alluded to a story that WHYY and Planned Philly are reporting, saying that the second in command at the Philadelphia Sheriff's Office is leaving the agency, and it is a week after Planned Philly reported that the office issued an illegal 6-year contract to an online auction company under his watch. He's retiring, and we don't know whether it's connected to that or not. And certainly we welcome the sheriff or anyone from the sheriff's office to call in and let us know, what's going on with that. So you can certainly give us a call, 215-634-8065. Of course, they have another number. They can call that as well and let us know what is going on with that. So we want to hear from you. Give us a call, 215-634-8065, and let us know where you are in these various things we're talking about on this morning show. 215-634-8065 is the number that you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD. But, as I talk about these shootings that are reported on the national level as compared to what happens on the local level, there were 5 people who died in Philadelphia. There was a quintuple shooting in Olney. 5 people dead in a violent weekend in Philly. More than 20 people shot. The violence included a quintuple shooting in Olney and a triple shooting in Kensington. People were killed in both incidents. Now, these are mass shootings. Depending on who you ask, a mass shooting is 3 or 4 people shot in one incident. These are mass shootings, but they don't make national news. And we have mass shootings that happen in the city of Philadelphia and beyond, and you know how much play they get? They get a paragraph. And these are the shootings that are happening in our communities. And I know, right? This is not my opinion. I know that if these were shootings that were happening in more affluent, whiter communities, then it would be something that would be addressed immediately by the authorities. I know it. The authorities know it. The political folks know it. And so we want that same kind of attention focused on our communities. Now, we're going to be working with some young men, and we actually have a slot available in the Listening to the Streets program, which starts tonight. We are talking with young men who are at risk of being involved in gun violence, who may have had gun charges. We talk about the people who are in the street. These are the people that we deal with, right? And we are going to be starting a new cohort of Listening to the Streets under Man Up PHL tonight at the Cheltenham ShopRite. And we are looking for at least one more young man to participate in that. So if you know someone who could benefit from that program where we pay a stipend to talk to and to listen to these young men, you can give us a call, 267-748-7818. That's 267-748-7818. At the end of it, we help them to get employment. 3 of the 4 young men who we did work with in our last cohort have been interviewed and are preparing to go to orientation for their job. Like, we ain't playing no games, man. And we mentor them as well and walk with them through this. And we are excited that in this cohort we will have a therapy element to it as well. And so we are excited about working with these young men, because you know what I've learned in dealing with these young men, man, over the past couple of years as we've started Man Up PHL, is that they are young men who have been placed in difficult situations, who have lived through difficult situations. But if you get them out of that atmosphere, if you get them off the corner, if you get them in a place where there's some positivity, guess what? You can have a regular conversation with them. We should not be afraid of our children in our community, because that's who they are. These are our kids. You understand? And so we have a responsibility not only to our own biological children, we have a responsibility to all of them, because they come from us. And so I hate to hear our folks talking about, oh man, these kids, who raised them? You know what I'm saying? Like, stop. You know what I mean? Now, certainly there's some systemic things that are going on. And once we recognize that and realize that, the question becomes, what are we going to do about it? How can we try to address it? How can those of us who have some resources, some experience, something to give. How do we then take that and give it so that we can have an impact on these young men and young women who are out here in these streets, man, rudderless? We got to do more. You know, we know what they're going to do. We know they're not going to report the shootings that happen in our neighborhoods with any kind of depth, right, or dimension or context. We know that we know that's what they're going to do. You know, but the question becomes, what are we going to do? And so, again, we're starting another cohort of Listening to the Streets tonight. We still have space for one more. So you can give us a call, shoot us a text, 267-748-7818. We do pay a stipend. There will be a therapy element involved in this, and we help them to get employment afterward. And so we want to hear from you. You can certainly let us know if you know of a young man, or if you are a young man who wants to be involved in that, wants to be mentored, wants to change, wants to do something different, wants a shot. Then give us a call. Let us know, man, because we want to help you get that shot. You know, but there's a whole bunch of people working on this stuff, man. I was just at the Philly Truce event, emceeing that event for them on Saturday, and it was my pleasure to do that. And saw, you know, our various political figures were there, and, you know, because I'm in these streets. I see these people. You know what I mean? Saw Larry Krasner, saw Carlos Vega, you know, because I'm involved in what happens in our community. And I think that's important. I think that's important for us to do. You know, it goes beyond just talking about it on the radio. You know what I mean? Like, no, okay, once you finish talking about it, then what? What are you going to do? How are you going to have an impact? How are you going to try to shape what happens in your community? Mothers in Charge, you know, Amir, Black Men Engaging Neighborhoods, Black Male Community Council. There's so many people, man. I mean, grassroots organizations working on these issues, you know. And we got to continue to work, but I think also we have to figure out ways to work together. And so I'm excited about Philly Truce and them starting their app, and, you know, people being able to get on that app and let people know where there's beef that could end up in gun violence, and trying to mediate that before it gets to that. I think that's wonderful. I think that's one strategy, you know, but I think that there are multiple strategies that have to be used in order to address what's happening in our communities. And the one thing we have to realize is this, that the reason you don't see stories about the shootings that take place, the 5 people being shot, the reason why you don't hear about in depth is because it's not as important to those who are covering those stories. You know, you got folks who love to write about, you know, black politicians and really try to smear them. Look, like, you got a whole lot of people who love to do that. I know some of them. You know what I mean? Real rap. But will they write about the stuff that's happening in our community that's destroying our lives? The answer is no. The same people that's running around talking about we in an opioid crisis because a whole bunch of white people died from overdoses are the same people who ignored the crack crisis that destroyed generations in the black community. And so the media plays a role in that. That's why WURD matters. That's why it's so important for us to be able to tell our own stories, because guess what? Somebody going to tell your story. It might as well be you. We have to learn how to tell our stories. We have to learn how to prioritize what happens in our community. We have to learn how to be proactive rather than reactive. We have to learn that you know, it has to matter to us, because guess what? We can't get it to matter to other people. We can't. It has to matter to us. I want to hear from you. You give me a call, 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. That is the number that you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio. Let us know where you are in these various things we're talking about on this morning's show. 215-634-8065 is the number that you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio and let us know where you are in these various things we're talking about on this morning's show. So, of course, you can also weigh in on Facebook at ForWord, at FORWURD. That's FORWURD, and let us know your opinion on some of these things we're talking about. Kawhi, so what are they saying this morning on Facebook?
So a few comments here. We have Malcolm White saying, "Preach, Solomon." And then we also have Bilal El Muhammad saying, "Teach, brother, teach on the bias in media and the U.S. in general." Angie Hamilton, good morning to you. She is listening to us out of New York. And then also, Cinque Blue says, "Question, family, who has the persons with a cell phone recording George Floyd's murder?" You mean the young lady who
is a young lady?
Yeah, she's like 17 or 18 years old. So, but yeah, her name was Darnella Frazier. So yeah, she was the one who recorded him. And I do see that we have Tim Golden giving us a call, so I'm going to go ahead and answer that. Okay.
All right, so Tim Golden is going to be up next, and we're going to talk about what happened with George Floyd. Looking forward to talking with him. It is 53 degrees. The time is 8:56 a.m. The time and temperature is brought to you by SEPTA. To plan your trip, go to iseptaphilly.com. That is iseptaphilly.com. We're going to go to break. On the other side, we're going to talk with Dr. Tim Golden about the federal indictments against Derek Chauvin and the other officers involved in the murder of George Floyd. I'm Solomon Jones. We'll be right back.
From safe to seamless, convenient to contactless, and local to express, SEPTA is the Philly way to go. Plan your trip at iseptaphilly.com.
African Genesis Institute, the world's largest and fastest growing youth organization of its kind, is offering $1,000 book scholarships for freshman students attending the world-renowned Howard University this fall. To apply, donate, or get more information, please visit the website at africangenesis2.org/book scholarship or call 215-247-5121. That's 215-247-5121.
Hello, this is Councilmember Isaiah Thomas urging you to vote for Judge John Padova on May 18th to keep this distinguished judge on the Court of Common Pleas. In addition to myself, he is also supported by State Senator Tony Williams, as well as State Senator Vincent Hughes, Representatives Joanne McClinton and Jordan Harris, as well as former Governor Ed Rendell and many others. Judge Padova is highly recommended by the Bar Association and endorsed by the Black clergy, as well as a lot of our local unions. For fairness, equity, and compassion, vote Judge Padova for all Philadelphians.
This is Judge Padova, and I approve this message.
Looking for something fun to watch at home? The Wilma Theater's film production of Fat Ham by Philadelphia playwright James Imes is now streaming online. Fat Ham, directed by Morgan Green, tells the story of a young black man trying to find his joy.
You carrying around your whole family's trauma, man. And that's okay. You okay. But you don't gotta let it define you.
Fat Ham mixes a joyful message of resilience with the humor of a black 90s sitcom. Fat Ham is streaming on demand now through May 23rd. To watch the trailer, visit the Wilma Theater online at wilmatheater.org.
Word on Politics. As we approach the Pennsylvania primary, join incumbent District Attorney Larry Krasner and his challenger, former homicide prosecutor Carlos Vega, as they square off in a live broadcast debate Wednesday, May 12th at 1 p.m., presented by WURD Radio, moderated by Charles Ellison, host of Reality Check, and Joanne Bell of the Black Women's Leadership Council. Don't miss this opportunity to hear from the candidates for District Attorney, Wednesday, May 12th at 1 p.m. exclusively on WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD. Streaming live on WURDradio.com, the WURD Radio app, or watch live on WURD TV via Facebook and YouTube. This is WURD Radio,
96.1 FM
and 900 AM WURD Philadelphia.
Black Talk Media.
It's Wake Up with WURD, hosted by Solomon Jones.
Good morning.
Right now on WURD Radio,
96.1 FM
and 900 AM WURD. Dr. Tim Golden. Brilliant?
If something is wrong when things go right for black people, then that suggests that everything goes right when things go wrong for black people.
Hard-hitting.
White nationalist domestic terrorism says black people have no business being equal participants in American democracy.
Real.
When you embrace your problem, you're inclined to remain vigilant against it.
Lawyer and critical race theorist Dr. Tim Golden. Right now on Wake Up with WURD.
Good morning. This is Solomon Jones on 900 AM, 96.1 FM, WURD, and I'm going to welcome Dr. Tim Golden. He's professor of philosophy, legal studies program coordinator, and founder of the Donald Blake Center for the Study of Race, Ethnicity, and Culture at Walla Walla University for 20 years. He was a criminal defense attorney in Philadelphia and in the federal courts. Tim, good morning.
Good morning, Solomon. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, man. It is a pleasure. So one of the things that happened on Friday was that federal indictments were handed down in the murder of George Floyd, federal indictments for Derek Chauvin and the three other officers who were there and who've been charged as being involved in that. What do these indictments mean? First, I'll ask you from a legal perspective.
Well, from a legal standpoint, what these indictments mean is that Derek Chauvin and the other three officers are facing some more serious charges that could land them additional time in a federal penitentiary to the time that he spends in state prison in Minnesota, whatever that time is. So this is from a legal standpoint, this is certainly not good news for Derek Chauvin and for these other three officers, because they'll be facing some pretty stiff penalties in federal court if they're convicted. And it remains to be seen what's going to happen, whether they will obtain plea deals to try to work something out for them to get lesser time or what have you. We'll have to see how that plays out. But from a legal standpoint, it means some more serious charges for these four officers.
Mm-hmm. Now, Derek Chauvin also indicted in another case in which he did the exact same thing, knelt on somebody's neck, this time a 14-year-old boy who was black. What happened in that case, and is this any different in terms of the charge, the indictment rather?
The federal indictment, I think, has he been charged? He's been charged in state court. Is that correct?
He was not charged in state court in this other case with the 14-year-old.
Oh, I see. Okay. Well, this means that he's going to be now facing charges, obviously, in federal court for what happened to the 14-year-old. And what this means for what allegedly happened to the 14-year-old. And what this means, Solomon, is this sort of repeat behavior or repeat performance, if you will, by Derek Chauvin. It underscores the need for the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act. Because when we have bad actors in police departments who engage in this kind of behavior, and there's a registry and there's a record of their conduct that requires them to meaningfully address the deficiencies in their approach to policing, whatever those may be, this doesn't happen again. Mm-hmm. Maybe we don't have a George Floyd if when he does this to the 14-year-old, there's some sort of disciplinary action taken against him that's meaningful, and that the police union won't be allowed to appeal and obfuscate and get him his job back so that he can continue to do the same thing all over again. This is why, from a public policy standpoint, these indictments are significant, because they underscore the need for Congress to act swiftly and certainly and ensure that there are improved standards for policing.
Yeah, absolutely. And so one of the things that we've seen previously in these kinds of cases is when they take it before a federal grand jury, the federal grand jury will typically fail to indict the officers on misconduct charges. What makes this case different?
I think what makes this case different, Solomon, is the overwhelming evidence against Derek Chauvin, including the videotape and the corroboration and compelling testimony of eyewitnesses. The evidence in this case is just overwhelming. It would be a serious mistake not to indict in a case like this where the evidence was so strong. I think if there was videotape of other cases, we would have seen something similar. But the fact that there was videotape is in some ways good news and in some ways not so good news or bad news. And it's good in the sense that there was a videotape. And it's bad that there was a videotape because it shouldn't take this level of overwhelming evidence to get this kind of action from the federal government, particularly when the Justice Department was founded with the express purpose of protecting black people from racial violence from state actors. This is the kind of thing that the Justice Department was founded to do, and it's good to see that Merrick Garland is taking that purpose and mission of the Justice Department seriously. But it shouldn't take a videotape to get this kind of action from the federal government. I think the videotape is the difference. In some ways that's good, and in other ways not so good.
You know, it's been interesting because that's one of the things that Eric Garner's family complained about. They said, look, you know, there was videotape of Daniel Pantaleo, former New York police officer, killing our husband, our son, Eric Garner, and we didn't get an indictment in that case either. I mean, you know, so what's happening with stuff like that? Alton Sterling, same thing, no indictment.
Sure. Well, I think sadly, and the Justice Department is supposed to be beyond this, I think sadly the reason why we don't have indictments in cases like Alton Sterling and Eric Garner is because of partisan politics. Those things happened during a different administration, an administration that arguably was headed by a more progressive president, but who, under Attorney General Eric Holder, just decided not to indict, and that's unfortunate. I think that I don't think that we have seen. I think that President Obama and the Eric Holder Justice Department was intent on not pushing the envelope too far, what they thought was too far. And I think although what they did do, which was good, was they investigated a number of police departments, Ferguson, Baltimore, Maryland, Ferguson, Missouri, Baltimore, Maryland, and Chicago, and they made recommendations. But I don't really think that was enough. I think that the George Floyd moment, if you will, and 4 years of a president on the heels of Obama that really had a Justice Department that was almost as bad as the Hoover-led FBI, I think that has pushed politics in another direction. And you hate to say that politics plays such a big role in these important decisions, but I think that President Obama felt, certainly with Alton Sterling, which happened in 2016, that was an election year. He's trying to pave the way for Senator Clinton. He doesn't want to make her look too over the top or too progressive. And so, you know, you have these instances of holding back. Same thing with Eric Garner. Eric Garner was killed, I think it was in 2011 or 2012, and President Obama is in office, and he's trying to walk a tightrope, and he doesn't want to be seen as anti-police. And I'm not saying that he runs the Justice Department, because theoretically he doesn't, But nonetheless, it is his nominee who runs the Justice Department, right? It is Eric Holder who ran the Justice Department. And I think it would be naive to say that politics does not play a role in these kinds of decisions. It shouldn't. It should always be about principle, but sadly it isn't.
Okay. All right. So in terms of the politics of it, so as we move forward with this, I want to talk about what you alluded to, the founding of the Justice Department. Where did the Justice Department come from, and what was the reason that it was put in place?
The Justice Department, Solomon, came from a desire to see the Union reunified during Reconstruction. After emancipation, the major problem in the country was that we had 3.5 million newly freed black slaves who were illiterate. They had very little, they had no education. They had, the only skills they had was manual labor. And their freedom was not undergirded by anything meaningful in terms of financial assistance or anything like that. So the situation was ripe for a lot of hostility and racial violence directed at them toward from their former slave owners. Remember, the only thing that the South had ever known in all of American history was slavery. So this represented a radical shift of lifestyle for the American South, and whites did not take to it kindly. So in addition to the Reconstruction Amendments, the 13th Amendment that abolished slavery, 14th that guaranteed citizenship, and the 15th that guaranteed the right to vote, there was a federal presence of troops in the South that was actively protecting African Americans, and the United States set up a federal government, a larger, more robust federal government with a Justice Department that was designed to help enforce several congressional actions, including the Ku Klux Klan Act and the Civil Rights Acts of the 1870s. And the idea was that the Justice Department, that the federal government, through the Justice Department, would enforce these laws and ensure the protection of African Americans. Well, this continued from 1863 up until about 1877, but then when Rutherford B. Hayes ran against Samuel Tilden in the 1876 presidential election, Samuel Tilden, it was a close election, Samuel Tilden contested it and told Rutherford B. Hayes, I will drop the election contest if, when you are inaugurated president, you agree to withdraw the federal troops from the South. Rutherford B. Hayes agreed. The troops were withdrawn, and almost immediately you have a reign of terror initiated on African Americans that continued deep into the 20th century. So the Justice Department began theoretically as a matter of principle to protect newly freed slaves, but with the withdrawal of federal troops from the South because of the Hayes-Tilden Compromise, it ends up being a shell of an institution until, of course, the 1940s and 50s, when it becomes a political means of controlling the civil rights movement and surveilling civil rights leaders. The Justice Department, or the FBI under the leadership of J. Edgar Hoover, begins to use Justice Department resources in ways that are entirely antithetical to the purpose of its founding. So it's not, and then of course the Reagan administration under Ed Meese, who was his attorney general, and the Reagan Justice Department began to sort of pursue a degree of racial violence against black people with mandatory minimum sentencing. And now we've seen the effects of that through mass incarceration, and now we come to a place where finally in 2021 it seems as if the Merrick Garland Justice Department is intent on returning the Justice Department to its stated purpose. At least that's what the Derek Chauvin indictment and the indictment of these other three officers seem to indicate, because here you have a prosecution initiated against 4 state actors for perpetrating an act of racial violence against a black person. So it's good to see that Merrick Garland seems to be bringing the Justice Department back to its roots.
That is Dr. Tim Golden. He is a lawyer and critical race theorist. And we are talking about the indictments of Derek Chauvin and the other 3 police officers who were involved in the murder of George Floyd. And so we talked about this from a legal perspective. We've talked about it from a political perspective. Let's talk about it from a racial perspective. What does this indictment mean for black people seeking justice in these kinds of murders?
Well, what it means is that at least in this case, there will be the lives of black people will be vindicated by a federal government who understands that this sort of racial violence is by state actors is unacceptable. And I think this prosecution will mean a lot more if it translates into meaningful public policy in terms of the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act. So I think what it means right now is we're living in a historical moment where you would almost anyone. I don't think there's a lot of people who are going to how shall I say? I don't think there's a lot of people who are going to disagree with the federal government's decision to indict these 4 officers. But we have to remember, Solomon, racism is a permanent fixture in American life. That's one of the basic doctrines of critical race theory. We saw something similar during Bill Clinton's administration in the early 90s, when the Janet Reno-led Justice Department prosecuted the officers who were acquitted on state charges in the Rodney King case. They prosecuted them. And I think a lot of people felt good about that at the time. But isolated prosecutions in different eras don't really do a lot to reinforce the idea that black people can find protection in the United States government. I think there has to be a consistent policy of vigorously enforcing civil rights because if there isn't, if that policy is not consistent, then what we're going to get is we're going to get a prosecution like how we got in the 1990s of the officers who were acquitted of killing Rodney King but charged in federal court. And then we're going to have 25 or 30 years pass without another one, and then there'll be another case like George Floyd that gets the attention of the world, and then there'll be a prosecution. So rather than have a policy of reacting, I think if the federal government were more robust and consistent over time in their treatment of these sorts of instances of racial violence against black people from state actors, I think you would see a lot more consistency. But sadly, that's not what we have. So racially, it's hard for me to say that it means much more other than another instance of overwhelming guilt that demands action from the federal government. Because, of course, as you remember, Solomon, the Rodney King case really initiated the era of the video, right? It was in that case that we saw, him literally being beaten to a pulp. And so that was a case based on video evidence that was hard to refute, and we know the verdict in California and what that meant for race relations in the 90s and so forth. So it would be nice to see a more vigorous, more robust investigation and prosecution of crimes involving racial violence over time rather than just one every 20 or 30 years.
All right. That's Dr. Tim Golden. He's professor of philosophy, legal studies, program coordinator, and founder of the Donald Blake Center for the Study of Race, Ethnicity, and Culture at Walla Walla University. For 20 years, he was a criminal defense attorney in Philadelphia and in the federal courts. Tim, as always, thanks so much.
Thanks so much, Solomon. Take care.
All right, you too. We are going to go to break, and on the other side, we're going to talk a little sports with Shamar Woods. He's the new editorial director for Sports Illustrated. I'm Solomon Jones. We'll be right back.
I'm Craig Levin, and I'm running for judge of the Court of Common Pleas in Philadelphia. I became a lawyer to fight for justice. For 33 years, I've been helping everyday Philadelphians with the issues that affect their lives. Judges have to use all the tools available, not just a jail cell. Philadelphia deserves a court system capable of mercy and justice, a judge who knows and loves Philadelphia and is involved in the community. I'm Craig Levin, running for judge of the Court of Common Pleas. Look for my name if you're voting early by mail, or push number 12 on Election Day.
Just one more step. You got it.
You're doing great. This is the sound of a nationally ranked top rehabilitation hospital, home to the largest collection of robotics in the United States, where we continually exceed patient expectations, because no injury is too severe or too minor for our care.
There you go.
This is the sound of success. Moss Rehab. Challenge accepted.
From safe to seamless, convenient to contactless, and local to express, SEPTA is the Philly way to go. Plan your trip at iseptaphilly.com.
WURD Radio presents the following information to help you navigate the upcoming election.
This is Charles Ellison of Reality Check and City Council Live. Still feeling a bit worn out from the 2020 election? We're not done yet. 2021 is another important year when locally you have the power to pick Philadelphia's district attorney. Who will it be? The current DA and incumbent Larry Krasner, or former assistant DA and challenger Carlos Vega? What we know is this is a closely watched bellwether on the future of issues such as mass incarceration, policing, and public safety. If you want to have a direct say over these issues, simply vote in the upcoming primary on May 18th. If you have your mail-in ballot, you can vote by mail starting May 11th. More information can be found at the Philadelphia City Commissioner website, phillyvotes.com. Continue to follow @onWURD and #WordOnPolitics for analysis and updates while tuning in to WURD Radio for special election coverage. Don't talk about your vote, cast it.
Stay informed
and vote. For more from Charles Ellison, tune in Monday through Thursday, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. or visit wordradio.com. You're waking up
with WURD,
hosted by Solomon Jones.
Good morning.
Right now on WURD Radio,
96.1 FM
and 900 AM WURD.
Good morning. This is Solomon Jones on 900 AM, 96.1 FM, WURD, and I want to welcome you back to Wake Up with WURD. And joining us now is Shamar Woods. He's the new editorial director for Sports Illustrated. Shamar, good morning.
Good morning, Solomon. Happy Monday.
Yep, same to you. How you doing?
I'm doing well, doing well. We're entering the last week of the NBA season. Looking forward to seeing how the Sixers are going to finish up. And we also have the rookie camp coming up for the Eagles. So a lot to look forward to.
Got to talk about it. So the Sixers on an 8-game winning streak. With 2 more wins, they can clinch the #1 playoff seed in the East. But they've been playing losing teams, Shamar, in these games. So what are the pros and cons that you've seen about the Sixers during their streak?
Well, first, Solomon, I can't believe it. Here we are, the last Monday of the NBA regular season, and the Sixers sit firmly in first place in the Eastern Conference. And as of this morning, they have a solid 3-game lead in the East. They definitely proved me wrong. I thought the Nets were going to overtake them, but obviously Brooklyn has dealt with their own fair share of injury problems with James Harden, with KD in and out of the lineup. But you just said it. The Sixers need 2 more wins in order to lock up that number 1 seed. They have 4 games left. They play the Pacers tomorrow night, beat on Thursday, and finish with 2 games against the Magic this weekend. I think you have to start when you're talking about the pros with the big man, Joel Embiid. In 5 of those 8 games on the winning streak, he has been the leading scorer. And you love to see that entering the postseason. You want to see your MVP caliber player, your number 1 player, playing well entering the postseason. But you know who has been the biggest surprise for me, Solomon? It's been Dwight Howard. You know, he's come in as a veteran and has just played extremely well all season long. And I think you look over these last 8 games, you know, just doing the little things, you know, attacking the basket, getting, you know, rebounds, and, you know, just being a support and a solid backup for Joel Embiid. For me, when it comes to cons, you know, this is a subject that we've discussed over the last few weeks, and that's Ben Simmons. You know, we talk about it every week, and which Simmons is going to show up. He sat out the Sixers' last game with back issues, and you just don't know how aggressive he'll be come postseason. And you just hope that he can find his rhythm before the Sixers, because they're going to need him. They're going to need him in the postseason. And so right now, entering, Sixers have the number 1 seed. Looks like they'll lock that up. But again, that big question mark, Ben Simmons, which one are we going to get come postseason? Is he going to play well? Is he going to play up to his potential? We'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah, I think we will have to wait and see. And so I think everybody's kind of seen those same pros and cons. But I wonder, when you talk about which Ben Simmons you're going to see, if we've seen all that we're going to see from Ben Simmons, a guy who can drive to the basket, but just refuses to shoot, you know, jump shots. A guy who refuses to shoot the 3, a guy who refuses to open up the court for everybody else by doing that. And, you know, it's just, I just wonder if this is it with Ben Simmons, if that's all there is to it. And if so, knowing that he's been shut out in the playoffs before, that he's been shut down by opponents who won't let him get to the rim, knowing that he won't shoot 3 balls, you know, if this is it, and can you win with that? Shamar, what do you think?
Joel Embiid, you know, winning the NBA MVP this season, you know, he's the number 1 player on the number 1 team in the Eastern Conference. And while the Jazz and the Suns, they have the better records out west, you know, I think they're pretty much the sum of their parts. And so I think the Sixers lock up this number 1 seed. I don't know how you can argue against Joel Embiid being the MVP. When you look at his stats, you look at his consistency, you look at the way that he's just taken on the leadership reins of this Sixers team. There's no one in this league that can guard him when he's on. And so when you talk about a most valuable player, you know, you take him out of the Sixers lineup, and, you know, the Sixers are a lottery team, if you ask me. But you insert him in that lineup, and they're a formidable team in the NBA, and I think that, you know, he's definitely deserving of winning the award.
Okay, so that's Joel. I want to talk about Ben, though. So what I was saying is that all, like, is there another Ben Simmons, or is this it? Is he just this guy who's not going to shoot?
Right. No, that's a great question. I think that there is another Ben Simmons somewhere hiding. I think that Ben Simmons is just still looking for confidence for whatever reason. We thought that was going to show under Doc Rivers in his first year. That hasn't been the case up until this point, although we have seen him in select games. I do think there's another Ben Simmons. I think he just has to find his rhythm. I think we've seen that when Ben Simmons, and this is the first 2-3 shots, you know, he kind of just goes into hiding almost for the rest of the game. You know, it's important for him to start fast, start strong, make shots, and knock them down. You know, as far as the perimeter game, which has been the biggest question mark of his entire career, I don't know if we're going to see that this year. I think eventually we could see that coming from Simmons. I just don't know if we're going to get that from this postseason and what we've seen in the regular season so far this year. But to answer your question, Solomon, you know, there is another Ben Simmons somewhere hiding. Hopefully one day he comes out. I don't know what day that will be, but I do think that we'll see it eventually before he retires.
Okay. So let's talk about the Eagles, because their rookie minicamp is going to start on Wednesday. It's going to go through Friday. Some pundits are giving their draft an A+. What should we expect to learn about these rookies during this camp?
Well, let's start with Heisman Trophy winning first-round pick and Devontae Smith. You know, he will definitely be – all eyes will be on him entering rookie camp this week. I think one of the biggest question marks for him is his weight. You know, much has been made throughout the draft process about his weight. And I think we're going to really get to see, how skinny or not Devontae Smith really is. But I think we'll also get a chance to see his quickness off the line, his route running abilities. So that's the number one thing that I'm looking forward to out of these camps. Another one, Jalen Hurts. With COVID last year in his rookie season, he didn't have a rookie minicamp last season. Will he show up? I think that he's done everything up until this point to show that he is a leader of this team and making sure that he's developing the relationships with the Eagles. I would not be surprised if we see Jalen Hurts in camp. Again, he didn't have it last season. You look at the rest of the rookies entering this year's camp. Landon Dickerson, he was a teammate of Devontae Smith with the Crimson Tide. He'll be in attendance, but he's still rehabbing that second torn ACL in the SEC championship game, so he'll probably be limited. I think going back to the quarterback position, you also have to look at Jamie Newton. This will be his first opportunity to prove that he should be the developmental option behind Jalen Hurts and veteran backup Joe Flacco. And, most people gave Newman a draftable grade, but there's still question marks around him. So I think he has an opportunity to answer those questions. And then lastly, I think a big target and a big need for the Eagles entering the draft was the cornerback position. And, many expected the Eagles to address that in the earlier rounds, but they didn't address that until the fourth round with Dak McPherson. And he's most likely in line to be opposite Darius Slay as the number 2 quarterback and defensive coordinator Jonathan Gannon. He figures to use more of a cover 2 and cover 3, so that should definitely help them. So those are the main things that I'm looking for in rookie camp. But, again, it just goes back to Devontae Smith. Such an explosive player, had an incredible college career, and now we get to finally see him in NFL pads.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing him in those pads, man. But I keep thinking about Todd Pinkston, Shamar. I keep thinking about these skinny dudes, man. I mean, it doesn't matter how great your route running is if you can't get off the line.
Very true, very true. And that's the thing, but he's a player. He's a baller when you look at Devontae Smith. And so I do think that he's going to put on some weight here at this next level. And, but at the same time, I do think that his quickness and being able to get off the line, I think that is going to be a key role. And I think that when cornerbacks see him line up, you look at a guy like Odell Beckham. That was one of my biggest questions coming in for Odell in his rookie season. He put up over 1,000 yards as a rookie playing with Eli Manning, and he had no problem, getting off the line. So, I think we'll see much of the same, the quickness in Devontae Smith. Again, he's definitely going to have to, put on some weight this year. But I don't think that it will affect him to the level that many NFL talking heads are discussing right now.
Okay, cool. Well, I'll take your word for it. I'm looking forward to it. Let's talk a little Phillies because they've had an up and down season despite the presence of this new veteran manager. At what point should Joe Girardi be held accountable for the team's uneven performance? What do you think?
I think that's a great question, and he didn't do himself any favors last week. He had a major error that almost cost the Phillies a win, and that after he turned in the lineup card that was missing one of his key players and then yelled De Los Santos. He was ruled ineligible to pitch after his name was left off the lineup card that was given to umpires, and I think that this error just underscores some of his earlier questionable calls, especially when he was the manager of the Yankees. A lot of fans questioning his calls. A lot of analysts questioned his calls when he was there towards the end of his tenure with New York. You look at where the Phillies currently fit. They're second in the NL East right now, and so I think there's some time before we start to hold Girardi accountable when it comes to this team's shortcomings or just the up and down flow that we've seen. I think that let's give it until the All-Star break, and then also let's see what the Phillies can sneak in to the postseason. But right now, I don't think there's any reason to panic. I don't think there's any reason to put Joe Girardi on the hot seat. But again, just the way that this season has played out, you look at last week again with the lineup card mishap, he's not doing himself any favors, and you just hope that the Phillies get hot here approaching the All-Star game. They can get some wins. They can get into that number 1 spot in the NL East. And I do think Joe Girardi can lead this team to that place and, into number 1. I think it's just going to take Phillies playing perfect baseball, not only from the bullpen, but they also have to get hits as well. And so there's a lot of things that have to go right for the Phillies in order for them to be successful, and Joe Girardi is just a part of that piece.
All right. That's Shamar Woods. He is the editorial director for Sports Illustrated. He joins us every week to talk sports. Shamar, thank you so much, man. We'll talk to you next week.
Thanks for having me, Solomon. Always a pleasure.
All right, brother. We want to hear from you. Give us a call, 215-634-8065. That is the number you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio. Let us know where you are in these various things we're talking about on this morning's show. Kawesa, have you seen pictures of the Eagles' first-round draft pick, Devontae Smith?
I have. Yeah, he's little.
He's thin.
Yeah, he is. I just don't want him to get, banged up like he'll be in and out in, 2 games.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping. But Deshaun Jackson was not a big guy. He's a little guy.
Yeah, but Deshaun Jackson was riddled with injuries too.
He was, but not early. Early
Yeah,
in his
true.
career, he lasted, but as he got older, it's like, your body changes, man. Your body can't keep taking that stuff as you get older.
Yeah, and he was quick.
So-
he was able to, dodge a little bit, so he didn't get taken out as much. But yeah, once he actually gets hit and he doesn't have the, the muscle mass to take those hits, yeah, it looked pretty bad at times.
Yeah. I got to call in my mother. You know what I mean? Cook the boy some chicken. You know what I mean? We get him straight. We will get him straight. You know what I mean? Coach, look here, because we need you, man. We can't have you out here, getting beat up early in your career. But from what I hear, and I don't watch a lot of college football, so I haven't seen a lot of game action with him, but I hear this guy is electric. So I'm looking forward to seeing him in an Eagles uniform and seeing what he is going to do. So give us a call. 215-634-8065 is the number you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio. Let us know where you are on these various things we are talking about on this morning show. 215-634-8065 is the number that you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio. Let us know where you are on these various things we're talking about on this morning show. I do want to know, do you have the drawer with the ketchup packets? Because that's one of the things that there's a shortage of, and I think there's a shortage everywhere else in America but in the black home. Because, one thing we've learned, man, from scarcity, from not having as much, from always, kind of clawing to do better, to get more, is that black folks have learned to kind of save some stuff, put some stuff aside, right? Have some extra stuff. Oh, y'all gonna give us 10 ketchup packets? Bet I'm putting them in the drawer. Some people put them in a jar. Now, I love the jar idea, Kois. I might have to steal that from your mom. We might have to do jars in here from now on. Only thing is we don't have that much counter space because Levita already got all this stuff on the counter. So I don't know, but the jars, that sounds like a good idea.
Yeah, and then you got to get the clear ones, and don't spend a lot of money. Go to the dollar store,
There
get
you
you
go.
some clear jars. You can
There you
put
go.
a little permanent marker on them or something like that, and just say ketchup or mustard, whatever. But yeah, they just got to be clear, or at least you can see through them so you know what's in there. Because that's the biggest issue with the drawer, right? You don't know, you just digging.
I know you digging.
Shoveling out condiments like.
Exactly. So yeah, I like the jar idea. I'm gonna talk to Levita about it. See what we can do about the cafeteria in here. Get some jars with our ketchup packets in it. But we want to hear from you. You can certainly give us a call. 215-634-8065 is the number you can call to get in. 215-634-8065 is the number that you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio. And I want to remind you, if you're looking for a job, WURD has got you covered. We just launched a brand new job portal featuring jobs from some of Philadelphia's leading companies and arts organizations. If you go to the portal right now, you'll see jobs from WURD Radio, the Kimmel Center, Hers Foods, Always Best Care, and more. Apply for a job today. Go to our livelihood website at wordworks.com. That's WURDworks.com and click jobs. I'm Solomon Jones. This is WURD. We'll be right back.
Recovery starts with a call. Pennsylvania's Substance Use Disorder Hotline is staffed by real people who are trained to help. They're here 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They'll get you or your loved one into treatment regardless of your access to insurance. If you or someone you know is suffering from addiction, call 1-800-662-HELP. Recovery starts with a call.
Paid for with Pennsylvania taxpayer dollars.
Olaniyan Adefume's goal is to assist families and students that are tired of the destructive input by the coronavirus. If you are interested in a math tutor, Olaniyan is offering small, reasonably priced classes that will focus on the PSSA test. The students will have lessons, tests, homework, and a textbook to keep with PSSA exercises and explanations. Knowledge is power. Call Olaniyan Adefume 215-678-3830 for pricing information and location.
Anthony Wright was wrongfully convicted of murder after he spent over 2 decades in prison. DNA exonerated him. In 2016, Carlos Vega re-prosecuted him anyway.
I was in prison, convicted of a crime that I didn't commit. Every single person that was involved was corrupt. I think about Carlos Vega, I think about the devil, I think about racism.
Vote now. Vote Krasner for DA. Paid for by Lawrence Krasner for District Attorney.
Lifting every voice
Till earth and heaven ring.
This is WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD Philadelphia.
Black Talk Media. Backed by popular demand.
It's Wake Up with WURD, hosted by Solomon Jones. Right now on WURD Radio,
96.1 FM
and 900 AM WURD.
Circuits are busy.
Here's what's trending.
Yo, that's crazy.
On Wake Up with WURD.
Actress Vivica A. Fox recalled a racist comment made by Ivanka Trump while they were taping The Celebrity Apprentice in 2015. Fox said ex-President Donald Trump's daughter spoke to a group of women, which included Fox, Keisha Knight Pulliam, and Kenya Moore, all black, during the season 14. According to Fox, Trump said, "Wow, you speak very well. You're certainly an articulate group. It's very impressive hearing you all talk."
And Seattle Seahawks star quarterback Russell Wilson and Atlanta Rays pop star Ciara picked up the check for a woman in a Beverly Hills restaurant in celebration of Mother's Day. In another act of generosity, the couple virtually visited students at Denny International Middle School to teach an important lesson on investing and saving for Financial Literacy Month. They donated more than $35,000 to allow each student to open a personal savings account with $40.
And in some sad news, the Obamas announced Saturday that their beloved family dog, Bo, has died. This afternoon was a difficult one for our family. We said goodbye to our best friend, our dog, Bo, after a battle with cancer. Former First Lady Michelle Obama said on Instagram on Saturday. Former President Barack Obama said, "Today, our family lost a true friend and loyal companion." And that is what's trending.
All right, so that's what's trending right here on WURD Radio. If you want to get into the conversation, you give us a call, 215-634-8065. That's the number you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD. Yeah, you speak so well. That's a microaggression. That's a microaggression. That's you know what I mean? Like, well, how am I supposed to talk? Like buckwheat? Like, what do you think I'm supposed to be doing? Like, am I supposed to, not speak well? Am I supposed to not be articulate? Am I supposed to, live down to your expectations? Are you so surprised that I actually have a command of the English language? Like, what are you saying? You know what I mean? And I think a lot of times, Kwesa, people don't even know when they being racist. I'm be honest with you. I think people don't even, they don't realize that when you say that, so are you saying that, you should have some different expectation of me than everybody else? Is that what you're saying?
That's exactly what they're saying. I mean, growing up in a predominantly white school district, I got that all the time. My brother got that all the time. And they were just like, oh, you're so clean, and you're so this, and you're like, what? What did you think? Oh, you speak so well. And one of the things that Vivica A. Fox did mention was that she was pretty sure that, Ivanka, she said that she probably didn't know that she was being racist. So she did acknowledge that, just like you said. Yeah. But at the same time, it's like, that's not a compliment. I don't go up to white people and say, oh my gosh, you speak so well. I don't, why would you even say that? Unless you already have a preconceived notion that because I'm black, I'm supposed to not speak well. So, it's racist,
Yeah. It's like you're pretty for a dark-skinned girl.
Yeah. Sorry,
you
that
know what I
burns me
mean?
up.
You know what I'm saying? That kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's not a compliment. Like, what?
No.
No, it's not.
No. You're pretty, period. You know what I mean? Like, what are you talking about? You know what I'm saying? I saw that on a commercial. I was so glad to see that, because that's the kind of stuff, that we have experienced as a people, and man, it's just deep. 215-634-80 from North Philly is on line 3. Go ahead, Derek.
Love, peace, blessing, and prosperity, Solomon.
Yep, same to you.
Thank you, Solomon. Solomon, y'all need to cut that out, man. Y'all becoming hoarders, man. When it comes to those, you know what I'm saying? I used to do that, Solomon, right? And then I come to find out, every time I run out, I would make sure I had some more, so I wasn't using them. And, they get all stale and everything. So
yeah, you can't let them get old. That's the thing.
I would put them in a bag. So I just think that we becoming hoarders and fanatical when we start putting them in jars and stuff like that. Because 9 times out of 10, when you go for it, it could be no good. And you're taking up space, and you're spending more money for jars. It's just a fashion of hoarding, Solomon. The other thing is,
not if you go to the dollar store, it's only $1.
You know what I'm saying? So
get them dollar jars.
But Solomon, but by the time you go to use it, man, you already done you done replenished it already. Yeah. But I wanted to comment on this, Solomon, on piggyback on Professor Tim Golden, where he talked about the 1876 president election, and during that compromise, or the South conceding under those conditions, the North conceding rather under the conditions that the South continue to their former lifestyle. It was called in 1877 the 1877 Compromise. And the other things I want to speak on real quickly too, Solomon, is the 13th Amendment. The 13th Amendment seems to be so dubious because in one fashion it says neither slavery or involuntary servitude except, and then it says later down in the 13th Amendment it can still exist. So we know that it's not quite abolished, but we use that term loosely when we say abolished, but it's not completely abolished. Thank you, Solomon.
I want to thank you for your call, and of course, the 13th Amendment says that slavery and involuntary servitude, except as a punishment for crime whereof the party shall have been duly convicted, shall exist within the United States. So there is no slavery except right as a punishment for a crime where you've been duly convicted. So so that's what it says, and I thank God that there is no chattel slavery within the United States, but certainly mass incarceration is the new Jim Crow, and that's unfortunate. What we have to realize is that system is set up to our detriment. You know, the immediate thing that they started doing after slavery was putting in place silly laws where they could imprison you, stuff like vagrancy. You know, oh, you don't have a job. Well, I just got off the plantation. I don't have no job because I was just a slave yesterday. We're going to have to lock you up, you know. And so what we have to realize, especially now, and I think especially for our young people, is that, no, jail is not a rite of passage. Jail is a system of oppression that is set up to the detriment of black people. That's why it's there. It's not, you know, you ain't no man until you go to jail. No, when you go to jail, it's hard to be a man in jail because you've got a family outside that, you know, otherwise would be able to depend on you, and now you're dependent on them. I mean, if we really think about that, like, oh man, I'm just selling drugs so I can take care of my family. Okay, you getting ready to go to jail. Now your family gonna be taking care of you. Like, you know, so does it even make sense for you to do that? You understand what I'm saying? You know, we I think get trapped in these systems, man. Because somehow we twist it around in our mind to make it seem like it makes sense, and it doesn't. It doesn't, right? You know, oh man, I'm just trying to take care of my kids. Okay, well now, you know, you calling your mom talking about, can you put some money on my commissary? Like, no, it's a trap, you know, and it's set up that way. And so we have to realize that. We have to realize that, and we got to let our young folk know that, nah, this is a trap, dog. This is not for your benefit. This is to trap you. And then you got certain states where, you know, you go to jail, you're convicted of a felony, you get out, you can't vote anymore in certain states. Now in Pennsylvania, that's not the case. But you know, they set it up so that, no, you are being punished for the rest of your life. It's a trap. I want to hear from you. Give me a call. 215-634-8065 is the number you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WRD. Walter from New Jersey is on line one. Go ahead, Walter.
I'm going to make this quick, Solomon. Good morning, sir. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I was going to quickly talk about sports, but you hit the home run when you got to patent this one, Solomon. Jail is not a rite of passage, but it's a system that leads you to oppression, right? Mm-hmm. That you just said. Yeah. Amazing. Yeah. You got to patent that, put that in your next book.
Okay.
Especially for our young people, you know, like we get complacent. Wow, that one had me changing my subject. But with the ketchup thing, I feel as though my wife is very meticulous. We have that drawer where the ketchup, the salt, and the pepper is all in there. I don't know if I'm living in McDavis's or I got my new rap group, Ketchup, Salt, and Pepper. Have a blessed day, sir. I hope your wife had a lovely Mother's Day yesterday.
She did indeed. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, I appreciate your call. I like that, Kuwaisa. Ketchup, Salt, and Pepper.
Yeah, I've listened to a couple tracks, you know. Maybe 2 or 3, you know.
I forgot about the salt and pepper, though, because we got that, too. Yeah. You know, and you can keep that.
Yeah, that stays forever.
That stays forever. See, the ketchup, you know, that's going to end up turning kind of like brownish red a little bit.
Yeah. It's so gross, too. And my issue is, like, I don't ever figure it out until I done put it on something already.
Yeah.
And I'm like, let me scrape that off real quick. Scrape it off.
Exactly, because that's the only way you would know. You take it out, oh man, I got my ketchup. Oh yeah, and then it's brown.
Oh.
Oh my goodness. So we are going to talk about that and so much more as we move on this week, because it's just some stuff. That's why I love being black, man, because our people, we are so resourceful in terms of just making sure that we always got something. You know what I mean? Oh, y'all gonna give us extra? Good. I got the napkins in my car. I got the ketchup in the drawer. I got the salt and pepper too. So we love all of it. I want to thank all of our guests who joined us on today's show, including Shamar Woods and Dr. Tim Golden. And we want to thank each and every one of you. And now, For super producer Kawesa Mathis and everyone here at WURD Radio, I am your host, Solomon Jones, saying stay tuned for Reality Check with Charles Ellison, and tune in tomorrow at 7 for more. Wake up with Word. Peace.